and welcome. It is episode 107, Red Leaf Retrocast here. What are we titling this? Dominion True Colors, Dominion AEW is a mess right now? What are we doing here?
Dominion AEW is a mess. Sounds good to me.
All right. So before we begin, Ricky, explain to the listeners what's up with your audio.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So my personal computer decided that it didn't want to connect my Bluetooth headphones, at all. It's just the Bluetooth did not want to cooperate. So I had to find a pair of wired headphones, and the only pair that I could find in my house were $5 convenience store headphones that were probably bought for such an emergency.
All right.
And yeah.
See what I can do. We'll see what I can do. On this episode, we got some indie wrestling, of course. AEW is gearing up for Forbidden Door, and boy, a lot of audibles being called in this company right now. A lot of wild things happening.
Holy moly.
And the same thing's kind of going with New Japan as well, as they had the conclusion to Best of the Super Juniors and Dominion. And then from there, I have a number of guests going over Joshi, Wrestling, Dragongate, and then it's from me solo with WXW True Colors, and the fallout from that, and then the retro stuff of All Japan Women, as I get to Dream Slam 1 in 1993, one of the biggest Joshi shows of all time, or women's wrestling shows, and of course Nitro and All of My Despair is on for your listening pleasure. That's what we're doing here. So I apologize for the less than stellar audio that you're used to listening, but promise next time will be better. Ricky, I got a Patreon. Are you familiar with this thing?
Tell me about your Patreon.
All right, I'm glad you asked. LLPW reviews. Live wrestling reviews from terrible shows that I go to, because some of the indie shows are very poor these days, apparently. I'll have a story over one of those shortly. And the Joshi 2010's Journey, new episode every 2 weeks, twice a month, that you can sign up for and get. Okay, let's get to this. I went to see Bret Hart manage FTR.
Oh, I didn't realize you were at that show, but it figures.
It was in Webster, Massachusetts, west-ish of Worcester and Boston, if I have my geography correct. Not too far of a drive. This whole show felt like I was in 1950s.
Just retro atmosphere, the card.
Everything, including the kind of wrestling that was going on, the finishes. So this is not a Patreon exclusive. I'm going to do a quick review because it is a hysterical time. Let me tell you. So I get there and there's no parking anywhere. Nowhere to park. There's street signs everywhere that say where you can't park. There's a police station with a P in the back pointed, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's the parking. And then a police officer comes up, he's like, you can't park here. Where can I park then? And he has no idea where to point me in the right direction. So big help there, Webster Police. And finally, I go to a back street where there's a store, and there's 2 cars, and I don't see any signs. I park there, and I cross my fingers for the rest of the night that my car would not be towed or booted. Success. So that was good. But Webster, Mass. will not be going there again for parking. And then I get into the venue. It's burnt popcorn and $7 water bottles that you can buy. That's it. For refreshments. And yeah, so I'm like, oh my God. All right. So that's lame. And then if there's a wrestling show with a balcony, you bet your ass I'm wanting that balcony seat. Unless I'm directly ringside.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Got a balcony seat, and this is in the City Hall in Webster, Massachusetts, and they might be older than the 1950s, because holy shit, these are wooden seats, not even bucket seats. They have like cheap metal coils underneath to make it like flip up. And then you notice that like every once in a while a seat has like yellow caution tape on there because the seat's broken. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Why don't they just fix it? And I got the answer to that question really quick. The way it's laid out is very inconvenient to kind of get out of the seat to like go to the bathroom or anything. So people step on these things, and the guy to the right of me immediately broke the seat, stepping on it. And I was like, okay, that's how they're broken. But I didn't have to sit next to anyone sweating all over me, because there was also no air in the entire venue, nor any windows open. So yeah, it was like 100 degrees in this place. So I'm just like sitting on the edge of my seat.
Like 100 degrees? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a horrible, horrible situation there. And then the wrestling gets started like 30 minutes late because everyone wanted FTR's autograph.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Even though they were in the main event, they probably could have, I don't know, just kept going and started the show. So I'm just like waiting there.
They had to sing.
Go on.
And they had to sing Happy Birthday to Floyd.
Oh, of course, yes. Got to.
Floyd is a friend of mine through, he was on the last Jericho cruise, and he's a frequent traveler to AEW pay-per-view shows as well. So Floyd is a traveling wrestling friend of mine, and it was his birthday at that show. And I saw a video of FTR leading a song of Happy Birthday for him, which how special is that?
Well, I'm glad he seemed to have a better time. So let's see what I can remember off the top of my head, because usually I like take notes. I was on Twitter, I was posting like match results and whatever, because that's kind of fun. Mm-hmm. Match results and times and how long. Every match was like 10 minutes except the Penta match and the main event. So they had a very standard layout to it. And when I say everything, like if you put the show in like 1984, you would not know the difference outside of the Pentagon PCO match. Everything was just so by the numbers, American wrestling, American finishes, American interference, with very poor indie wrestling on top of it all. And you might be like, oh, JD, you're overreacting. It wasn't that bad. Yes, it was, and here's why. Alec Price was the opener, and that was like the second best match on the show. And he faced a guy I'd never heard of. Poor Alec Price had to deal with this dude who just could not pick him up, was tripping all over the ropes. So I was like, okay, opener, kind of laughing it off, no big deal. Alec Price won. And then the second match happens. Oh my god. This might be the worst like live wrestling match I've ever seen in my life. So there's a guy who comes out, and he's kind of like, he's walking out there like Keiji Muto before his double knee surgery. He's kind of limping and hobbling. He's got a gray beard on, and his name, I thought his name at first was the DA. So I'm like, oh, okay, so he's like got a knockoff Mark Sterling gimmick or something. No, it's just TA. His name is just TA. He's an old man who can't really move, and when I say this guy is possibly the worst wrestler I've ever seen in my life. I've seen a lot. At first, like, he's so bad, I thought it was a shtick of him being terrible. So, it's a hardcore match, because of course it is.
Oh, no.
And he does cut a good one-liner before the match starts. He goes, I know all of you guys here in Massachusetts saved up your Taco Bell tip money to come see me wrestle. I was like, okay. Good line. Did like that. And then from out of nowhere, Yeah,
that's cute.
Yeah, good line. Out of nowhere from the side, this dude just obliterates him with a cookie sheet right in the head, and it just goes bang throughout the arena. I'm like, okay, let's go. All right, and I was for it. This proceeds to be a match where every single spot goes wrong. Whenever Mr. TA was in control, there was a spot where he got a trash can lid, the little aluminum ones, And do you know the gif of that Hulk Hogan one on like Nitro where he gets the chair and he just kind of bonks Randy Savage over the head real lightly just to make a little tink sound?
I think I have seen that, yes.
Okay, that's what this guy does to his opponent in the ring, Mr. TA over here. He does that. It just goes tink and everyone just kind of goes, haha. But then every single, like, he was dropping things, he was tripping over himself. There was, it was very bad. Tables wouldn't break, of course, so I am the table moments. And then, of course, it finishes with a cheese grater. The dude gigs. And there's interference, like, the second he gigs, and the match is over, and he pins him. So this dude, like, bleeds all over the place for all of, like, 5 seconds, and the match is over. Ridiculous. And that's not over. That's not all for Mr. TA. He's a manager for a guy that interfered for him in that match later, and he can't even do that part right. So there's a ref bump. There's a ref bump in this match later, and he's supposed to get the title belt, hit the guy over the back of the head, the guy goes down, and there's a big near fall. So he gets in the ring, like, trips on his knees, gets up, drops the title, picks it up backwards, so it's the leather spot that's hitting the dude from the end. He doesn't even get him in the head or near it. He hits him in, like, the lower back, and then the dude goes down. And then he drops the title again. I'm like, oh, the worst. So, yes, Mr. TA, I do not like your wrestling. I'm not a fan. It was really bad. PCO and Penta are out of their mind. That was a lot of fun. Penta saw 3 kids in the front row, and he goes, I'm going to land on those kids. And yeah, it was great. Kids loved it. They're just like, oh my God! And easily best match on the show. FTR against Pillman and Brock Anderson was very 1980s. Get the heat, hot tag, match over situation. Nothing special. And that was big time wrestling. It did not feel very big time, even though there was like 900 people at this place.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a completely sold out venue. And I have a text from Bowling. Am I available to bowl Thursday? Ooh. I've been bowling pretty bad this week.
Are you available?
I could be.
Thursday?
I could be. I mean, it's not like there's any AEW to watch on Thursdays. At East Providence?
No. And there's no hockey either, because the first game is Wednesday.
We are a pro Mountain West sports podcast. We support those teams.
We are.
And the Avalanche are going to kick
this
those...
is an Avalanche.
They're going to kick those dirty Bolts ass and make everyone sad that they couldn't three-peat. All right. Looks like I'm bowling on Thursday. Hopefully I do better than these previous 2 days.
Game 1 is...
Game 1's tomorrow.
Been rough?
Yeah, just below average, pulling the ball. Yeah, no one wants to hear about my bowling struggles. Yeah. Okay. So that was big time wrestling. I will not be going back to another big time wrestling show if that's what I am to expect. It was very cool seeing Bret Hart again. That's kind of the whole reason why I went to see him. He's looking a bit rough and old these days, which is expected. Dax and Cash cut very good promos, putting over Bret Hart, how much they mean to him, blah, blah, blah. So, there we go. And next weekend, I'll be going to GCW to see Will Ospreay wrestle live. That should be great. Wait,
where is GCW next week?
Providence.
Oh, in Providence, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, at FET?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
That's exciting. I have a show coming up at Lucha Libre and Laughs, which is June 24th. And I think it's the main event. Royce Isaacs, Effie, and Anaya, who made his AEW Dark debut this week.
Well, sick. You'll have to.
I'm looking forward to
you'll
that
have
one.
to take excruciating notes at this live event and have a big fat review for the podcast coming back in a couple weeks.
It will be a big fat review for sure. Other people appearing on the show are Edith Surreal, Heidi Howitzer. I think Dak Draper might be on the show too. Yep.
I pray that you don't have to
Plus
watch
live
Mr.
comedy.
TA. Like, my description does not do
I'm not
this man justice and how horrible it was.
Aww.
It's okay. I don't think he's listening to this. All right.
I'm gonna send
No. No.
a link to this
That would be bad.
podcast. No,
That would be poor.
I wouldn't do that.
All right. So, I guess just rapid fire matches from outside promotions here. I did get a chance to watch Prestige Wrestling Night 2 from Roseland, the Roseland show, and Alex Shelley defeated Bandito. Go out of your way to watch that. Very solid stuff. Bandito's just incredible. I wish this dude was signed with a major promotion rather than his kind of freelance gig, because I'd love to see this dude get some sort of rocket pushed for this guy.
He is so young, so talented, and from what I understand, so handsome that everyone wonders why he wrestles in a mask. I really, yeah. Sorry, I just got really distracted thinking about Bandito.
I understand. My pants get a little moist too.
No, he does need a much brighter spotlight. He is phenomenally talented, especially for his young age.
Yes. So Alex Shelley won that match. Good stuff. I think I went 2 out of 3 on it. And then Yamashita defeated Maki Ito in the main event. I went full 3 on this one. This was... Yeah. They did not phone it in. It was big match feel from them both. They did not phone this in as some like house show in Portland. They went in there, and I would be against a champion of their own promotion losing in the main event, but she did not come out with the title. They kind of put it off as kind of just this singularity moment, and Yamashita kicked her head off. Not unlike Katsuhiko Nakajima knocking the fuck out of DDT's Tetsuya Endo on CyberFightFestival. Whew. That poor dude's in the doghouse with all the shit going on in Noah and now with DDT. Poor guy. I watched the Deadlock Pro, June 5th, No Pressure, particularly the main event. Full 3 here. I didn't even hesitate. Miyu Yamashita again, so she's showing up quite a bit lately, defeating Miyuki Takase. This match ruled. I got to share this match with you. This was incredible. Takase just knows how to work an American crowd. She was doing... I don't think she intended for the Hulk Hogan response that she got, where she points the finger and everyone goes, "You!" Because she would point at Yamashita, and then she'd sit down and go, "Kick me, bring it on." And she was chopping, she was doing, and it was good, because it was much like what Maki Ito does, where she does the shtick early to get the crowd into it, and then it becomes a serious big match feel. And Yamashita won that one, also kicking her head off, so we got a theme here with Miyu Yamashita. Much like how she kicked the Bee's head off at CyberFightFestival. That's all she does, is obliterate skulls and takes their names and make sure they'll never be pushed above her. Okay. And then Alex Windsor. I watched a couple of her matches from Rev Pro, particularly... So there was a rookie. Hold on. Alex Windsor. I gotta pull this up. So I gotta give this this young talent the credit where credit's due. Let's see.
Is Rev Pro still?
It is Rev Pro. It was from Chantel Jordan.
Okay.
She is 18 years old. She's been wrestling for a few years, whatever that means considering...
Okay, not a name I'm familiar with.
Me neither. I know COVID kind of had a lot to do with development stunting, but regardless, I went full two. I went to 2 out of 3 recommendation on this. I really enjoyed it. But Alex Windsor is one of my favorite wrestlers to watch in 2022. She came back from a retirement, and she's just putting on great matches. Now, the Kylie Ray match, didn't love that one. It just kept going. You get those kinds of matches. But you watched the Tyler's Day Off from Black Label Pro, Kylie Ray, Trish Adora, which when I saw your post, I went out and saw that match, and I didn't go full 3 like you, but I did really like it. I went 2 out of 3. This is, like, all this match made me remember is how much I'm sad Kylie Ray just can't seem to handle, like, Major League Wrestling, like the stage, and it just gets to her mentally. Yeah. Because she is such a talent that she's a little bit of a dork. That's kind of endearing in a weird way. But if she can ever get this together and she can finally like prove mentally that she can handle bigger stages, there's just too much talent there to waste. But I did like this match. What did you like about it? Ricky, you there?
Sorry. So I was temporarily disconnected, but I think.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I'm back. I think you were just summing up. Oh no! What's happening? Issue right now.
You're back. You're okay.
Is it audio or internet issue?
Both. Try turning off the video, and maybe you can be connected a little better.
Okay. I turned off my video. That usually helps with bandwidth.
Yep.
I don't know what else would be taking up a bandwidth. Is that better now, though?
Yes, that's better. So I was talking about Tyler's Day Off, Trish Adora, Kylie Ray.
Yeah, so like you, it did make me kind of yearn for a time that Kylie was in a better space and could, handle a larger spotlight, because she is so incredible. And I think the world of Trish too. So I had really high expectations for this match, and somehow it still passed my expectations. I don't know if the story was that Kylie underestimated Trish, but I thought it was intense and hard fought and aggressive from both sides, and I would definitely recommend watching it.
Yeah, and that's kind of our matches from outside promotions. I am going to play... you know what? I'm going to play Chris Jericho's music.
Wait, hang on. Can I say just a couple other quick things about that Black Label Pro show?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
So I only watched the first part because I think there was a hockey game in the evening, and I didn't make it back to watch the second half. But once again, Sarah Joy Shockey was on commentary, time with her fiance and podcasting partner, Marty Del Rosa. And they made a great team. Obviously, they podcast together, so they already know each other's banter. But Sarah, she's so strong on commentary, and I loved hearing her voice. So I wanted to shout her out again. And let's see, what else was on that card? Kevin Blackwood was in the penultimate match of that show versus a local guy named Titus Alexander, who I was not familiar with previously, but who I will definitely make a point to watch future matches of. I mean, there's a reason why they give the less experienced people to Kevin Blackwood. He makes everybody look great.
He has gotten a lot better over the last few years.
But Titus Alexander was a great opponent for him and shown on his own. So I'm going to keep an eye out on him.
All right. Time to play Judas. All right, AEW. Oh my God, where do we start?
I mean, I guess we start from... I guess we don't need to touch everything, but maybe we start from the Punk injury.
So, how about this? I have a lot of my thoughts, but I'm curious about yours, Ricky, in particular. And I'm just going to hard get you with the typical questions I think a lot of people are asking. You can give your thoughts, and I'll pretty much play off you a little bit. So, last we left off, it was Double or Nothing, and we were critical of the show, positives and negatives. We all liked like Anarchy in the Arena. We all questioned why like Kyle O'Reilly was beating Darby Allin on pay-per-view in just a random match. Supposedly, the pay-per-view got 155,000 buys. Down from Revolution, but up from Double or Nothing the year prior. So year over year, they're up. So very
terrific.
Successful when you look at it metrically. So that's very good. Supposedly there were metrics out there that proved that Tony Khan getting that extra hour and extending it past Game 7 did increase buys. I don't know how you could track that personally. I'm not in the know-how of that, but hey, their sources tell me such. I don't know why they would lie about that. It just seemed strange, but here we are. So at least like financially, it was $1 million gate. It was a very financially successful show, and the more I like thought about it in the moment, it's not a show that I could say it was bad. It was just underwhelming. A lot of it. It's kind of how my thoughts. And then coming out of it, and here's where the questions start. CM Punk, injured. Titles not vacated. Kind of confusing initially with the promo and everything.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Watching that Rampage, I'm like, so is the title vacated? We got Chris Jericho accidentally saying it is. Then we got posts from Tony Khan saying no. It's there's going to be an interim title because of course there is. He doesn't want to strip CM Punk.
Excalibur had to course correct in the Excalibur had to course correct in the middle of a match that was already cut short because Punk's promo went long. So
yeah.
Although I did actually like the concept of putting the video packages in picture with the match for Rampage. You only have an hour, so you do sometimes feel like you're not getting your money's worth when they fill the time with video packages and not matches. So I thought it was a good attempt. It just didn't work for that particular match because the match was so short. And then Excalibur had to run down, no, Punk didn't vacate the title. Just kidding. There's going to be an interim title, and then it's going to get really complicated after that.
Right, and they're like moving around their fake rankings that matter but don't matter. It matters to them, but it doesn't matter to the fans.
Of course not.
Because they... okay, so here we go. Should Punk have vacated the title, or how they went about this interim title reign, is that acceptable?
I think so. They had already set a precedent for interim champions.
I agree. Yep.
So if that's what they decided they were going to do, I'm fine with it. Unless it was going to be like a 2-year vacation. But it sounds like he's getting surgery and he'll be back within a year at least, so it's not like too nuts.
They made it sound like it's only going to be like 6 to 9 weeks or something.
Yeah, so I think I think it's reasonable to have an interim champion. I wish he had used those words in his promo, so that way the internet didn't go crazy and Tony Khan didn't have to overcorrect and Excalibur didn't have to overcorrect. But I'm okay with the concept of the interim champion. As far as this whole, Moxley automatically gets a shot, but then there's a battle royal, and then Tanahashi was supposed to be against Punk, but now he has to beat someone to be against Moxley. Like, that made no sense to me. Plus, I feel like they scrambled really, really fast to put this all together when they had 3 weeks. They had 3 Dynamites to figure this out. I don't think they needed to figure it all out on the second day. They could have given themselves some time.
Yeah, I actually agree with a lot of that. The issue is, I guess it would have been. It does make for exciting television in a weird way. That's for sure. The Kyle O'Reilly winning the Battle Royal, the Casino Royale, with essentially none of the kind of major players we wanted to see in it. Like, that's been a critique I've seen coming around, like Wardlow and Page and Danielson. All these guys just weren't in this Casino Royale, and Moxley gets this bye just because he beats Daniel Garcia in the main event of Dynamite. They're moving things around. They want the stars. Like, I get the reasonings for a lot of these things, but yeah, I think not everything had to be solved within a week, especially with Road Rager and Blood and Guts coming and Forbidden Door. I mean, honestly, would it have been the worst thing in the world if you just go, it's Moxley Tanahashi?
Right. What? There wouldn't have been a problem with that.
Yeah, they made it way overly complicated.
As you mentioned, it was the Battle Royale, Casino Battle Royale, did seem like it was weighted very weirdly. Why was, Wardlow wasn't in there, Danielson wasn't in there, other top contenders weren't in there. It was still, I thought it was actually one of their better Casino Battle Royales. But yeah, the structure of it it was all very strange.
Yeah. To me, trying to keep things as simple as possible when you have to kind of call a lot of audibles does more good than trying to come up with reasons and explanations. Because when Wardlow came out and Page came out, they have to now explain why they're not in these matches for the titles. I appreciate, as a fan, the attempt at the explanation, but you don't. It ends up doing more harm than your intent. We all would have understood. Tony Khan, in conjunction with New Japan Pro Wrestling, because this is a joint venture at Forbidden Door, the committee at New Japan and Tony Khan have decided that Moxley and will now replace CM Punk. Like, it's not hard. Like, as much as I like to make fun of like WCW from the past, that's the kind of thing that they would do. They just go, we talked to the board of directors, and Sting is now in the main event. Like, okay.
Okay.
Cool. And in this case, there would be more of a precedent. All right. The follow-up on Wardlow. This is something we were very concerned with, because I didn't like how everything went over with MJF. And they followed up with a squash match against JD Drake, fellow bowler. Obviously very upset about this. But is this the proper...
Fellow JD.
Right, and fellow JD, nonetheless. God. That's 2 strikes from Wardlow right there. But was this like a proper follow-up, or did they kind of salvage it with Wardlow now making his mark on the TNT title?
No, it's still trash. Wardlow was the hottest thing. The Wardlow MJF storyline was the hottest storyline going into Double or Nothing. And I don't know if it's the fault of the MJF drama or the fault of the writing or both. But JD Drake was not the right follow-up. And you and I both love JD Drake. He's phenomenal in the ring, but he was not the right AEW opponent for Wardlow to follow up. And the fact that he's now in this comedy, match resolving his legal issues with Mark Sterling, it just does not sit well with me. It does not sit well with somebody who is poised to be one of the top baby faces in the company. Now, if he does take the TNT title, he may be able to get the Sammy Scorpio stink off of it. And I say that with the nicest of intentions because Scorpio Sky is one of my favorite wrestlers, but that storyline has trashed the reputation of the title and it needs to move in a different direction. So I would just like to see AEW prove me wrong, I guess.
Yeah, they're kind of losing a lot of points lately, and this is the second year in a row where the month of June has just laid an egg. It all goes back to the NBA playoffs, just moving shit around and getting in the way. It's very strange. It's the second year in a row of this. Let's see. This came out of nowhere. The All Atlantic title, complete with Japanese and Chinese flags.
So Tony Khan's never looked at a globe. But that's okay. The belt is pretty. It's really, really pretty.
It's a nice looking title. I do like it.
It's really pretty. I was already hyped for the Buddy Matthews Pac match when it was announced. And then when we found out it was actually a tournament match, I, probably fell off my couch. I don't know. It was pretty intense over here. I'm excited for the rest of the tournament. I don't think AEW needed another men's singles title. I feel like it's just one more match for the men every week on TV. When Trio's belt is out there, it's made, it's ready, just give it to us. But it's a pretty belt and the tournament will be fun. I like that the last two brackets are going to be New Japan talent. That's really fun. And and Pac won, so I'm a happy girl.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be the SWA belt stipulation like in Stardom, where people from foreign countries can challenge for this thing, and it's kind of to highlight them, which I'm cool with. As once these ROH titles kind of go away, then the amount this argument of AEW has too many titles becomes irrelevant, because the whole goal from the start is ROH is going to be separate, and I kind of brush aside these ROH titles with the exception of FTR, but I really see them as the AAA tag champions personally. But they have a million people on the roster, so a third male singles title is the least of my problems. It's just all of a sudden, as you're watching Dynamite, you're this is for a new title. Look at this thing. Oh, and by the way, this match, it's a tournament match. You're okay, cool. You could have just said at Forbidden Door, we're gonna have a 4-way and just announced 4 people, and I don't know. It's very strange that we're going a million miles an hour when it's everything's overly complicated in AEW right now. It's very weird, and it's what. So my opinion is the storytelling stinks. The matches are still mostly good, and I'm still excited for Forbidden Door, but the overcomplication is taking that away bit by bit. How do you feel? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Then I guess last question. I will comment. The baddies still awesome, and they're doing exactly what we kind of wanted them to do coming out of Double or Nothing with Athena and Statlander, and they're putting on good matches, and that's good. The Thunder Rosa stuff still bad. Britt Baker still bad. Okay, last question. MJF. What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
He said a swear word on TV and he got cut.
Yeah, no, I think it's I mean it's a shoot that is now a work and we're all getting worked and I love it. Like
okay.
I don't remember the last Yeah, I mean I think the last time I felt this conflicted about whether something was a work or a shoot was Moxley leaving WWE. I think that's the last time I was really on the fence. So it's fun. It's fun to be worked. That's why we watch wrestling, right? It's for the storylines and to not know what's going to happen next. That's the fun part about it. I don't like being a smarty pants all the time and being able to figure it out. I like not knowing.
All right. So coming up, we got Road Rager. We got a hair match that came out of nowhere, and it's not really built at all between Ortiz and Jericho.
Every match this week is the stipulation. Oh, except they had to remove the Hardys from the ladder match because of things.
So I am of the mind that it's not Matt Hardy's fault in any of this. So
how is it Matt's fault?
Right. So I kind of put out a feeler out there. It's like, well, they got two options. They can either just completely remove them and maybe insert a new team into that into a three-way, or Matt Hardy can simply find a new partner, and they can do cool shit in the match and lose.
I feel like they had to remove them completely because otherwise they'd have to address, even in a kayfabe reason, they would have to address why Matt was wrestling with someone who's not Jeff. And I mean, this way,
that's kind of easy to do. You just have the Young Bucks beating someone up backstage.
Yeah, but I think AEW would rather make a statement with Jeff not being on TV, like a silent statement. Remove him from TV. I mean, the whole thing, he's suspended without pay. He's not going to wrestle until he's committed to a recovery. So, yeah, I don't think it would have been. I don't know. I'm torn. I'm torn on that, but I'm fine with it just being Bucks versus Jurassic Express.
Yeah, it kind of just goes into further of the Hardys should have just lost on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, well, why is that not over? I mean, it should have just been over.
Right. Well, anyways, let's see. We got Britt Baker and Toni Storm, which is a recurring thing at AEW right now with these repeat women's matches. Just it further aggravates me. The Owen winners are kind of being in these weird I could spell it all out. I think it's just long-winded at this point. The booking is all over the place. Hopefully, once Forbidden Door is done and over with, we can, queue up the North Star and get right back on track. That's kind of what I'm waiting for at this point. All right. Any further AEW thoughts? All right, I guess not.
Oh, I did want to comment on I wanted to go back to the Battle Royale just for a minute because Killer Yuta stepped off a plane from the Super Juniors 3 hours before the show and then wrestled in the Battle Royale and was the second person left. But he got such a great pop in that crowd. I thought it was important to bring attention to it because he's my guy. And I love that people love him. And then Andrade was the Joker. I didn't expect him to come back to work after his honeymoon as quickly as he did. And he had a gorgeous natural tan. And he looked great in the match too. So I thought that was really fun. Ospreay showed up.
He did.
Which I don't know if it was my feed or whether they softened the crowd or something, but I could not tell if the crowd was reacting to him or not. And so
they
I reached out on Twitter to ask people, and some people who were there wrote back to me and said, yep, it was super loud. People were excited to see him. But from home, I literally could not tell. I didn't hear it.
Yeah, it was a loud reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, I think that's all I have.
Okay.
I think that's all I have on AEW. Other than, like I said, a couple of my Libre and Laughs people appeared on Dark this week on Monday's episode, so that was really fun to see too.
All right, I'm gonna play the Ace. All right, I think this New Japan section will be kind of quick, considering a lot of the thoughts are tied into AEW in a way. But Best of the Super Juniors finished. Hiromu Takahashi has won the third year in a row, his third in 4 years, or fourth in 5, or whatever it is. He beat El Desperado, who, in my opinion, was the runaway MVP of Best of the Super Juniors. I thought the match...
Absolutely.
Yeah, so the block finals, I thought Hiromu versus Ishimori was very boring. I was not into that. I get the whole work the leg knee story that Hiromu did. I just thought it brought down his matches. Didn't like them very much. And then, weirdly enough, I really liked the ELP Desperado match, and ELP annoyed at Desperado losing because of that loss. He couldn't get the main event of that show. So he's like, all right, fine. Timeout draw, bitch. That's all I'm doing. And for a while at the start, he was kind of just running away and annoying him. And he's just like, I'm going to do a timeout draw because that's all I need. Time draw, baby. And then they ended up having a good match from there. So I did like the character work that ELP has brought. But the Desperado Hiromu match, I don't think it... I think the consensus is it wasn't as good as their Super Juniors final match from a couple years ago. It was fine. I mean, I went a full 3 on it. It was certainly a very good match. Like when Hiromu kicks out of the 2 Pinche Locos, and then Desperado kicks out of like Time Bomb 1, and then Time Bomb 2, and it has to be like this alternate Time Bomb 2 for Hiromu to put him away. I thought the near falls were really good. I thought it was paced well, but God, I was gutted when Desperado did not win this thing. What are your thoughts, Ricky? You there? Uh-oh. We lose her? Okay. Guess we lost her.
I'm here.
Ah!
No, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I've been shouting I'm here. But do you know what? There it is. My signal. I don't know what's going on with my internet, which I literally just boosted recently.
You know, when I supposedly got quote-unquote better internet, for the first like 2 weeks, I was like nerfed in connection. It was so bad.
So we were really bad at our connection, and then it finally plummeted so badly that we were getting like intermittent spotting. We had a tech come back out to take a look at it. And he's like, oh, the guy who installed your line didn't do anything to the outside box.
There you go.
So we were still going on the old speeds from the feed. And so now we have great speeds. So I don't know why my connectivity is so bad. Right? It might be honestly my personal computer. It's getting older. So
very possible. But anyway. we're patient here today. But yeah, what'd you think of this Best of the Super Junior final match?
So I had watched it a day or two late, so I had already read the results going into the match. Oh, I was disappointed when I read the results because Desperado was, like you said, the standout of the whole tournament, and I really would have liked to have seen him win. But I liked the match. I thought it was a good match. It was hard fought. It was, even knowing the result, I thought there were a lot, there were near falls, and I bit on some of them. So
does Hiromu, now having won all these Super Juniors, I know, like, accolade-wise, he's now regarded as one of the best juniors of all time, and all that, but does he feel really stale in this division now?
Yeah. Yes. I love Takahashi because I love Daryl so much. But yeah. He's racking up, accolades and records and things, but I'm not sure that the in-ring stuff is reflective of that anymore.
Yeah, unless we can get an influx of new, fresh talent up and down that New Japan Junior roster, like Ace Austin or Chris Bay or some, like, all these guys, because they don't have a lot of young lions to, like, bring up in that division to compete. I don't know. I've been calling for Hiromu to be infused into being a heavyweight for a few years now. He definitely feels like Kushida, where he was before he left for WWE, and he's coming back. It just seems like we're retreading now shallow waters at this point in time. I would have really preferred this further Desperado run, because, man, when you look into the crowd of those Desperado matches, he had all the main events in the Best of the Super Juniors. He has a lot of fanfare behind him. They've made him a junior star, and for him to lose, I was gutted as a fan. I was questioning why we're going this route with Hiromu still in 2022. It just brought a lot of questions to me, even though I liked the match.
Sure. Yep. I think that's totally fair.
And then we go into Dominion, where no junior title on the line. That will be a Korakuen show we'll be watching. But Tanahashi defeats Goto. Great Okan and Cobb, as I've seen online, being Khan on the Cobb. Love that name. They defeated the just atrocious tag team of Bad Luck Fale and Chase Owens. Just a waste of time that was. Shingo Takagi defeats Taichi in a neat little gimmick match. Carl Anderson defeats Tamatanga to become the new openweight champion. Not my favorite thing, but I guess the story's, like, fine. It's just not that, they're just not that high level of wrestlers you kind of want to see when you expect out of New Japan.
Right.
Will Ospreay defeats Sonata with the U.S. title vacated again.
But no belt. Oh my God.
Belt.
Okay. Yeah, I love Ospreay in the ring. I'm not the biggest fan of him as a human.
Fair. That's fair.
But gosh, it's so hard to, to anything but love him in the ring, and to see his story in New Japan, and that stupid U.S. title with it. It's fucking bad
cursed.
Luck.
Yeah, it's cursed.
Yeah.
It's wild. But Ospreay has it now. I'm sure there'll be a rematch with Juice Robinson or something. They're making a little story out of it.
Yeah.
New Japan has the same issues. Stability. We need to find that North Star. Get the abacus out, calculate something correctly, and let's make July the part where we start getting on course here. And then Jay White.
Yeah.
And then Jay White defeats Okada, 36 minutes. It was definitely a Jay White match in the main event. I put a lot of stock in Jay White winning. I truly believed it. Okada had this thing for 6 months. They're pushing.
Oh.
I have a theory. You ready for this theory?
Okay. Yeah.
So, all match, Jay White is egging the crowd on to cheer. Okay?
To chant.
Really wants them to chant for Okada, cheer of any kind. And then in his post-match, he's demanding them to cheer. And he's very specific about his words, where he's like, I came up through Osaka. This is home to me now. And finally, the crowd, like, it was hesitant at first, but the crowd finally let out a temporary cheer. And my theory behind this is the way Japanese culture is, and some Asian cultures as well, is to not disrupt the community. But a foreigner certainly could.
Mm-hmm.
So, for Jay White, a proven main eventer, I think Will Ospreay could have also done this, to be honest. But Jay White has, I think, a better connection on a main event level with the crowd, because as soon as he hit that fucking Blade Runner, the crowd knew it was over. And it was just clean as a whistle, 1, 2, 3.
I did not know it was over. Nope. I could not believe it ended with one Blade Runner. I was even though okay, again, I literally just watched this match before we started recording, because I was traveling all weekend, and only got in late last night, and then I had work
going
today.
to dirty Yankees games, anyway, you traitor.
Watch that. Yeah, I also saw Hugh Jackman on Broadway, so suck it.
What's next? You want Aaron Judge's autograph? Oh, God, the worst.
I have that.
I knew it.
But where was I? Oh, yeah. So I knew the result of the match, and I knew, we were winding down and coming to the end. And even though Jay White had been grinding down on Okada all match, I was shocked that one Blade Runner did it. I was shocked. I was sure there was going to be a kick out, another move, or another Blade Runner. That surprised me, actually.
Yeah. So, I mean, it didn't shock me that one did it, because it's actually going to shock me when someone kicks out of it. That's just how I've been kind of, I guess, mentally trained through a Jay White match. But yeah, I think this was absolutely on purpose to put this title on Jay White, because they're doing a lot of things in America. They're doing Okada has had a long run again. 6 months is a good amount of time. Not every run needs to be like 8 months to a year. And now with crowds coming back and trying to egg him on and cheer him, or cheer, Jay White just seems like the perfect guy to try to antagonize people to breaking rules again. I say quote-unquote breaking rules.
Jay White is one of my favorite characters in wrestling right now. Partner hates him, but I think it's because he's supposed to hate him. Like, I think he legitimately hates his character as a heel. It took both of us actually a long time to turn around on his in-ring work.
He has a very particular style to him, yeah.
I really, really, really enjoy Jay White as a character. And I think you're probably spot on with that. Yeah. I'm also just really hoping that he does face Paige, and then Paige still gets to face Okada down the line. Because what did I say? Didn't I say if Punk wins the title, he's going to have a match against Tanahashi? If Paige wins, he's going to have a match against Okada. That's what I said 3 weeks ago, or 3 episodes ago.
You did say that. There is audio evidence of that.
So that's all I want to see is Paige versus Okada. Neither one of them, especially Paige, is the wrestler that they were the last time they met. So, yeah, I really hope something. When I was watching earlier tonight, I had a theory about how they were going to get Paige to Okada, and I lost it. I didn't write it down.
I was pretty shocked that there was no AEW presence here at Dominion. And I think that's a major missed opportunity, because there's been a couple instances on AEW, namely like Ospreay and the United Empire showing up. Tanahashi made an appearance. He's going to make an appearance on Dynamite upon recording tomorrow. And at Dominion, it's a big show. And I have to wonder if this was a New Japan call that they want to really get over the fact that all these heel groups are champion in this promotion now. I was kind of floored that they went this route. Jay White did cut some. All these guys cut like big promos, kind of putting down AEW post match. But I would have really liked to see, I don't know, FTR after Great Khan's tag title win. That they like, just top of my head, like they come out and they didn't have to like beat him up, but they can stare him down or whatever. But instead, we got like Rocky Romero coming out and getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, that's a good point, which didn't occur to me. Although I did notice, so I did actually, because I wanted to hear the crowd reactions, I did watch the video package, and the three guys that got the loudest cheers were Ospreay, Jay White, and Lance Archer got the loudest cheer from the crowd out of any of the G1 participants.
Yeah, the crowd were really cheering for the foreigners, and even El Phantasmo got a big pop when he was announced for the G1.
He did.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the G1. The 3 blocks thing, and a couple less matches. I mean, it's kind of Dragongate-esque of them to do that. It's I don't know. It feels diluted at this point in time. We'll have to, I guess, wait and see how the matches play out. But with guys like Bad Luck Fale and Yujiro and these guys in it, I don't know. I'm definitely not into that aspect. We need a lot more, just like the Super Juniors, we need a lot more new blood in there.
Oh. I was surprised, too, that there was a lot of same old, some people who are not main eventers, and that Lance was the only AEW guy too. Oh,
yeah. So, anyways, that's New Japan. As we get to Forbidden Door, Tanahashi, Moxley, which I'm very excited for that main event. I really am. We just don't know really anything else other than the All Atlantic, not Pacific title. Okay. Well, Ricky, much shorter session between the two of us this time around. We're not going 3 hours getting drunk, drinking mimosas, but with a mixture of scheduling and little connection issues, I think it's time we say goodbye.
You're not great. Have a wonderful couple weeks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
JPQ, you're back for more Red Leaf Retrocast.
Here we are, man. I'm excited.
Okay, so we're going to kind of speed run the Joshi scene this time. How's that sound to you?
I like it. I want to see if we can do it.
Yeah, well, that's the big thing. Every time that I want to have a shorter conversation, it always ends up longer. But look, right, man, I got back from bowling.
We got bowls. We're ready to go.
Okay, so here we go. We got Catch the Wave, the beginning of the Ice Ribbon Infinity Tournament. TJPW is doing stuff, or at least trying, and then Stardom's got their qualifying league going on. So, what do you think of Catch the Wave so far?
It's a bit slow. I'm waiting for it to pick up. So I'm hoping that I think you said, I don't know who said it. Somebody said it. The second block part of the tournament is where the action's going to be, because this isn't, rememberable matches within a tournament during a year where you were hoping for a lot of memorable moments. It just hasn't happened yet.
I really get the feeling that they're not, I can't say motivated, but the matches just don't have a lot of energy to them, and it makes it really tough to watch at times.
Yeah, it doesn't link the way I was hoping it would, and I'm not sure why.
I tell you who has been hitting, though. There's two people.
Who we got?
Hikari Shimizu and Kohaku.
Kohaku's done well. Yeah, and I think she's in a good block to do well. You know, I think the matchup.
A lot of motivated, like, young talent, yeah.
Like, I think what started out as a way of... Like, last year was 4 styles, 4 blocks, or however many blocks it was, but it was kind of defined, but everybody kind of went in there and had a wrestling match. Feels like now the blocks are a little too gimmicked to where we're trying... It's too performance art at times than wrestling, and I think that's where a lot of pieces are missing. Not the rookies. Rookies are going there and trying to throw bangers. Okay, cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did mention that before. They're not handcuffed to some sort of shtick.
Something. Yeah, something. I don't want to sound too critical because I was hyping it pretty good, and I get what they're doing, and I think there's execution elements of it that are really nice, but the fact that I have to explain it that way is kind of a... You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty outspoken that the comical block and the hardcore blocks just suck.
Yeah, I mean, there's been moments in the comedies that's nice. Hardcore's been a little tough. That one I haven't, I haven't focused too much analysis on.
Yeah, I mean, it's by far and away the young block is a big highlight. Even if I'm not a fan of like a couple wrestlers, they're
block's okay, but a little disappointing. But has potential still.
I just they're just working too slow. The cards that are being put together for these things aren't helping. I mean, a lot of draws, just very drawn out matches. I get no sense of anybody on a roll, like, at all.
The draws I'm okay with the draws if the draws...
They're doing multiple per show.
I know.
I know they
again. Are, but so you have to like look at them with the story within the blocks. And like the future one, I like the time limited draw story they're telling. Right? It's like Kawada goes up on Umasaki because of a draw. And then like the next... the next time that there's one, it's Umasaki getting one on Suzu to go to tie 4-4 with her. And so they're using them to kind of not build anybody out of the future block because you pass 2 or 3 of them the next round, right? And that's when it can get a little spicy. Right now, it's like that story I'm okay with. Why you're doing you and Takase and knocking Takase out on a draw? What? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the defending champion, it felt like she was never in the tournament.
Like, that's a tough draw. You know what I mean? Like that. And you're right, because that's the second one on the show, last one. But, I'm not as critical on the draws. I just, there's been a couple where you're just like, no, because it ruins the story that they're trying to, for me anyway, it kind of takes me out of the story of like the strong arm block now moving forward. Which you don't want. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want my focus to now be one step closer to the hardcore block. You know what I mean? So why would you take me out that early? Well, not early, but you know what I mean. Why would you take her out completely? So we'll see. Yeah. And I'm sure there's a reason from a business perspective. She wants to go do something, go somewhere. She's not going to be around, whatever. But nevertheless.
Yeah, it's been a rough ride for Catch the Wave this year. I guess we'll see how the back end goes, and if we can finally get like a great match, because it's really missing
matches. Yeah,
it's really been missing a lot for me. The closest is, I guess, would be the opening night Kohaku Suzu Suzuki match, and then the Hanako Nakamori Nagisa Nozaki. Here's the other thing: all these matches go like, if they're not if they're not a 15-minute draw, they just don't have enough time to really develop anything. Because that Nagisa Nozaki Hanako Nakamori match, I had circled as, I want this thing to go, like, if that went to a 15-minute draw and they just like busted their ass and had a hard-hitting effort, then cool. But it went like 9 minutes. It was over before it began. There was a couple cool moments. It had a little bit more energy, but I mean, I still went 2 out of 3 on it. I guess I was in a better mood, but It's not what I was looking for. That's been kind of the story of the tournament. But
you're not recommending it, and that's the thing.
No.
Like if you're not passing the tape on, then you're like the influence isn't growing. And in a tournament, you want just a couple moments in the first round and then a couple second round, banger at the end to really kind of get people to pay attention moving forward. And this has been lackluster at best.
Right.
Like you're not recommending this to anybody right now, and that sucks.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of another tournament I'm not recommending, let's play Ice Ribbon.
I am.
Okay, so the Infinity title tournament with no stars.
I mean, this is that era stuff we were talking about. They gotta find the new 20-year star, and that's just
I get it, but
what it is.
There's gotta be, you gotta put people over. And there's no one really in this tournament to do that.
They're figuring it out.
It's a rough ride. And it's gonna be a rough ride. There's going to be some growing pains to a lot of these things. The match that I think was the, best of the first round so far is Tae Honma against Asahi, in which Asahi out in the first round. And she was someone a lot of people pegged as a favorite for this thing. Right decision? Maybe
no.
Not. Yeah.
Not that time. Not that time. Like, she could have at least gone next round. But yeah, I don't know. They're figuring it out, and it's interesting. But and again, time's only going to tell, and they're going to be in a little bit of a decline. Like I think that's a fair assumption. You know what I mean? Like
sure,
you're going to see a dip. You're absolutely going to see a dip. What's going to be interesting is next year because they're running like 11 Korakuens this year just because they had them.
I think they took away a few.
Took away a couple, sure, but they're keeping a decent.
They moved Yokohama. 8. They're not doing that anymore.
That's smart. That's a good decision. Yep.
Yeah.
And so they're pivoting. They're making, they're making adjustments, and they've knowing that they, it just feels like. And I'm not saying like I know anything, but watching the shows and watching some of the ancillary, moves that they're making from a media perspective. Still having to deal with Nico, and that's just the driving worst part about it. Is like if your quality sucks. No offense, Nico. Well, no offense, Nico. Fix your quality. If your quality sucks, and when you do get stuff, it's delayed and clipped, and it's clipped heavily sometimes. Like it can only get so you're capped on what you can do for a lot of people. So how's it being received inside? And there's a lot of revenue channels, which feels like with the dojo and. So it's like I think like they're okay getting money in sans big shows, but can they get back to big shows? And that's gonna be a long road. I think I really do. That's like might be like a 5 or 6 year thing once like contracts run out and stuff. I really do. I think they're going to build back to something significant.
Yeah, it's a long time. I'm very spoken that I think it didn't need to go this way. This is just the path that they've chosen, and I don't agree with it. But just looking at this tournament right here, I think it's a huge mistake to not have like any sort of past champion. I know Makoto technically counts, and I really think she should win this thing.
That would be nice because we called that at the beginning of the year too. Not the way I'd probably want to get her there, but
no, like definitely not the way.
Saki and Maya on the way there would be nice.
Definitely not the way I would have gotten her there, but to not have Maya Yukihi in this thing, even Ham to an extent, as much as I like to, as much as I like to give her a hard time, she is a past champion. She did just pin Sakushi on the retirement show. Like, if you want to build up young stars that you're going to book on future shows, and you clearly have no intention of utilizing Maya Yukihi in any sort of like main event role, then beat her. Use her star power in the promotion. use her credibility to, I don't know, have Ibuki beat her in like the semifinals or the finals. These are all things that I just don't understand why the promotion is doing what they're doing. And while I liked that Teihon Asahi match, but it was like,
it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I also get that there was some scheduling conflicts there, and that's fine. But it was still a 10-minute match on a dojo show. And it's funny. We just talked about kind of
about it.
Yeah, on the Joshi 2010s, we were talking about the optics of just kind of a big match on a dojo. Just gives it a bad impression, at least from the outside looking in.
No, and I think it's all fair, right? Because I think people have this idea of what Ice Ribbon is. And the thing is that they've shifted. I mean, they're really now more like family focused, like I would be interested to see what their audience like profile would look like. You know what I mean? Because I think you're going to see a lot more family oriented stuff because they've gone so young. You know what I mean? Like their average main event scene now is 19 and a half. Like they're so young at what they're doing, and then they're using like 40-year-olds and 35-year-olds, and like again, that's really enjoyable. Like that's a dynamic of it, but it's super condensed down to a very specific kind of fundamental have fun with pro wrestling, basic stories as they kind of go through this idling period to find the next person that take them that Tsukasa 20-year route. And to think of them as like anything more than that right now, to where they're going like, be, I don't want to say like Stardom like, because that's not where I'm going, like, but that main event co-main kind of big show hitting type of thing, they just don't have the experience. You know what I mean? Like they need to build into that. And that's like a 2 to 3 year process. And then from there, if you pick right, you get them another 2 to 3 years, and it can be really interesting in time, and it could be a super fun ride. But my goodness, like it is a little thing right now, and they got to try to build this thing all the way back. It's crazy. Like they scaled all the way down, and they're trying to rebuild this thing back from scratch. It's pretty amazing how left turn they went in 3 or 4 months, and maybe they had to. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what they had to do to save it. Because remember, the president, to your point last episode, came out and said we were going to shut it down. So is this okay, we can do it, but we can only do it at this scale because this is going to make us money. It might just be that's the case, and if they can rebuild this thing, it's going to be awesome. But I just can't hold them to any other higher standard right now. I don't think they could ever match that expectation. You know what I mean? I think that fall was hard and fast, and this is what's going to make them any type of profit in the short term, which is crazy to think about, but I think it's true.
I mean... Yes, I agree. I do agree with essentially everything you're saying. Right. I don't disagree with that. The part that bothers me so much is, and it's funny, I've been such a fan.
They didn't put anybody over on the way out.
No, they didn't. They put nobody over.
Zero.
They put 0 people over in the last year.
It's a fair criticism.
No, year and a half. They've put essentially nobody over. For a company that is so adamant about doing stories. The story at the end was goodbye.
Yeah, it was a great goodbye, though. You got to give them that.
Yes.
It was a great goodbye.
I was very. I hope I was clear that the goodbye was nice.
Yeah, it was a good goodbye.
The timing of it and how they went about it could not have been worse, and could not have been more poorly executed because, as I said in the previous episode, you're staying in business, and if you're staying in business, you're going to have to make tough business decisions, and I'm sorry, but this be happy with pro wrestling thing, as nice as that is, now is not the time.
But that might be their only option. Like, that's the thing. Like, you can't keep going and losing, trying to hope it gets better. You just got to look at the books and go, we got to scale all the way down.
Yeah, I'm watching
lost Suzu too. Remember, they built her. And then they certainly didn't build anybody. And I agree wholeheartedly with the last 18 months. They could have done something with a couple just to get feelers out there to see if people would have liked them or not.
Yes.
Because what my big
A/B
critiques
testing that should have been done.
my big critiques is who has Ibuki and Asahi, because they're kind of like the top two people that people
Ibuki,
are putting on.
Ibuki, and I know she's lost it twice this year, and it's a quick flash in the pan kind of story, maybe that they're telling just to get a title on her by the end of the year and some against.
Maybe,
but which is title chasing, but it's one of those things where we're kind of don't know what her plan is, and again, it could always change, 2 years from now. So they got to factor that in. And again, I think we just focus, and again, we know why, but because we've talked about it, but in Suzu and the amount that they put into Suzu to make her that next generational
during the pandemic
tie.
Of all thing too.
Oh my goodness! And then she just gone, and good for her for going. Like if she can make it, I mean, she's Stardom thing right now. She's got her own thing. She's pretty much everything else. So she's hustling the way she said she was going to. So good on her. But she bounces, and now you've got, you got Ibushi, or excuse me, Ibushi. You got Hoshi, Ibuki.
I mean, to be honest, probably the best move would have been after Suzu lost that title match back in November. You probably should have just had a big singles match of Ibuki versus Suzu at Ribbon Mania, and Ibuki just beats her.
I could see it.
But they wanted the tag title match. They're just doing a bunch of moves that I just don't quite understand. I do understand, but I don't understand. There's a lot we just don't know of the direction they're heading until it finally plays out. And this tournament's going to be probably a good example of that, because the history of Ice Ribbon in their use of freelancers, there's not really a precedent for it, especially with holding the title. Mio Shirai and Shida, I believe, technically were freelancers, but Shida, came up through Ice Ribbon, and Mio Shirai ends up signing. But that was over 10 years ago. The last time something like that happened. So there's just no precedent for the direction that they're possibly heading in with the usage of freelancers, if it's going to be what we think it might go. But I guess it remains to be seen. Anyways, we're spending too much time on this. TJPW. I'm going to play, I guess, Miyu Yamashita's music. That seems appropriate. I'll play it. All right, so TJPW, did you watch the Ito versus Rio defense of the international title? She came in from Eve, and
yes.
What did you think?
She's got a lot of potential.
Ito, I agree. She has tremendous potential. Maybe she'll beat Britt Baker someday.
We'll see. Wow. DMD. No, she... I thought it was a fine defense, Maki's doing her own type of title defense right now, and I'm really enjoying it, because it's not your typical, beat someone and then take a post-show, I want your title, and okay, let's go move on, or, you know what I mean? She's popping around in different countries, she's doing things, she's wrestling everywhere, she's bringing the title with her, and then she'll pop in and she'll just show up and do what she needs to do. It's kind of
funny. The best things,
fun.
The best things that have happened in TJPW this year have essentially happened
outside TJPW,
not crazy? In the promotion.
Which I mean is good. They're on this international, what do they call it?
You mean the fucking cyber agent bounty hunter shit?
Yeah. Okay. So they're the bounty hunter stuff, but they're shopping their champs and around the world. Which it makes more sense. It's just, I think they're it's very weird the way they kind of constructed that tweet and everything on that side of it. But up to that tweet, Maki being in the West Coast and Miyu going with West Coast, and you know what I mean? The Take Soup guy running around, Takashita running around doing his thing. I thought they had a nice 6 weeks, Shav and Cyber Fight, right?
It is interesting, because TJPW, they truly believe, at least in their minds, that running a monthly Korakuen, which is good, that is the next step to growing. I do agree with that. They have these strange scheduling lulls like between their last Korakuen and this CyberFightFestival, instead of just kind of messing about on house shows, they utilize this time to have Yuka go to America, Ito and Yamashita wrestle in Portland. Yamashita's going to Spain, and now they got the international title back to what they initially like invented it for, was to have foreign talent come in and challenge. And from this, I do agree. And yes, they're
it's the best part of what they're doing, which is wild.
It really is. I think Ito's the best champion in TJPW right now, and it's like the third belt. It quite says something, but she's the most interesting, and she's putting on the best matches as champion right now, in my opinion. I very much don't like the Shoko reign, like, at all.
I appreciate Shoko for who Shoko is, but it's not like I'm not acting like Miyu Yamashita matches. I was looking forward to, like, and I'm like hyped for it, and it's like
the matches in a vacuum. Yes, I do agree.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the build.
Yeah.
We spent plenty of time talking about the build, but the matches were always dope. These matches are dope, but they're just a little. It's just not that main event punch. You know what I mean? That I come to expect.
There's definitely a consensus with TJPW with the main event is incredibly stale. It's the same people, just in the same rotation, and
it is an interesting thing. That cycle seems to be very documented.
It's very cyclical, and I've been very outspoken with there is actually a top 3. That's Yuka, Shoko, and Miyu, and Rika's kind of in this weird 4th position. Namely, she won the decent little 4-way on the CyberFightFestival show. Even Ito and Miyu had a nice little tag match. Boy, the Bee's head got just obliterated by Miyu. With all those rookies and whomever in the match, it's always the Bee that eats the fall. Just no one moves up. No one moves up in this card. The 4-way Rika won, and she's going to be challenging Shoko. So there you go. The same cycle continues, because same critiques over and over again. That's why I'm really like enjoying Ito, and to me, she's like actual champion of this promotion, because it's everything she's doing is fresh. She's being set up with a new mystery international opponent. I couldn't even begin to speculate who that might be. Probably someone else from Eve. I would love Alex Windsor personally, and she should win this thing. I'm all up on the Alex Windsor train.
I'm glad that you are. I mean, UK women coming back. I mean, there's always been a handful that have been really good and can move around.
There's a few over there in Eve that I'm a fan of. Laura Di Matteo, Rio here. I like her. We got Shida and Riho, and I think Veni Aja Kong was announced for the next big show. But the Yuka Shoko match from CyberFightFestival. Did you watch that?
No.
Okay. Well, I'll just get my short thought. I thought the match was just about to get going, had a decent little pace to it. They had like one messed up spot. I'm not going to kind of worry about that little Hurricane Rana thing that was going on there. Decent little selling. They did this really rad brainbuster spot where Shoko landed on her feet and Yuka did the whole, that bitch landed on her feet. I'm going to turn around. She's going to be up. And Shoko tried to get one over on her, and Yuka muscled her up into a deadlift suplex. Very rad. Love that. And then it's just kind of out of nowhere. 619 by Shoko, double arm DDT, and hits that senton off the top. And another consensus is this senton finisher it immediately makes all of her matches just end on the flattest of notes. It's every time. You just go, oh, it's over. There's like no drama to it. There's no like feeling the match is going to end. That's how the Miyu match ended when she won the title. That's how the Hyper Misao match ended. That's how this one ended. They're all the same. I
being moved from the top, and then she does it.
Something new needs to be developed with Shoko, and which is weird because she's moving kind of better than she has in the past.
Yeah, she's very good. Distinctly, I'm trying to. The senton's okay. I haven't seen this one.
I've been very spoken that they need to cycle her out of the main event and get someone else new in her position, and she can kind of.
Yeah, but
she can kind of be like international title.
Yeah, she'd be fun in Eve too. Like she should travel. If she's not traveling, I hope she does. She's a fun one to shop around. And she came to AEW very early.
She did.
And I thought she had a nice little spot there. You know what I mean? Like she's a good ambassador.
She was in that tag match where B. Priestley knocked Loopy Britt Baker, and she went to the wrong corner.
Remember that? Yeah.
Loved it. Love it. Yeah, TJPW. There, we were talking in the Red Leaf Discord that, and we all kind of came to this. I think it was. I forget who said it exactly, but it all makes sense. It's TJPW is a company that, even though they run monthly Korakuens, still books like they run 2 a year.
Okay. Yeah, because there's not a lot of movement, right? Sure.
Right.
Which, I mean, again, maybe they have their reasons for it. I don't know, but yeah, you don't feel like you're missing much if you gap it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you can come in for their January 4th show.
Right.
Whatever, like Grand Princess type show they're gonna do, and the Princess Cup, and you're done.
Yep. Yeah, kind of. Princess Cup should be fun.
I guess we'll see. Maybe Mizuki will win it again.
Why not? Give it one more chance. I'm a believer.
Ito wins it for the second year in a row.
Could you imagine?
Just like Mizuki, and then loses.
Has the iPop title, and we're going champion versus champion. She still loses. It's like, one more year.
Well, I mean, Ito did eat that pinfall in the main event of the Prestige show. So even as champion, she's dropping falls to Miyu. Forever
the loser in Miyu. I love the story. It's nothing more than Dreamer back in WW or ECW. So the title belt.
She should never beat Miyu now.
She should never beat Miyu. No, and I love that. You know what I mean? Why not? And just keep having her lose in more devastating ways.
Oh God!
Like because Maki's in on it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And she knows that everybody else is just going to get killed. You know what I mean? She's just there laughing. Hopefully, it makes them money. You know, and the thing is, it probably doesn't, and that's what. I don't know. But yeah, I would love to see it. I think that would be a fun. Give me 3 more years of it. You know, and then one of them. Oh boy.
Okay.
As an wrestle again.
I have a number of Stardom drops here. Do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, it's My Emblem by Saki Kashima. This isn't even a question. I don't even know why. It's a default answer.
All right, hold on. I'll pull this up on YouTube. Stardom. I wonder if I
boy, if you don't have it, I don't know if you're gonna be able to find it.
Natsu Sumire, My Emblem. That's more funny.
That's pretty good.
Okay, so I'll play some Saki Kashima Emblem, and
that works.
We'll get into some Stardom talk. All right, I played 30 seconds of that sucker. That was for you, JPQ.
Nice.
Don't tell anyone I don't do anything for you.
Oh, hey.
Okay, so Stardom, they're doing a lot in the summer.
So much. Wild ride.
We're gearing up for a huge 5-star, which I'm very excited for. They have this qualifying league of the, we'll call them younglings.
They're doing a block tournament so well before they do a huge block tournament. It's nutty. It
gets you invested in the essential pin eaters for the main 5-star.
Yeah, that's 100% true. That's exactly what it is. It's like you're going to love. It's just smart.
Perhaps the booking is a little wonky with the younglings. They can't just like beat each other or do things, or
but you know their names now. You know what I mean?
It serves a different purpose.
Correct.
It's really, I think it's really filling out the undercards pretty well and giving a lot of the main eventers a nice little rest before this huge summer push.
Young Lions Cup. Come on, what's there not to love about it?
It is like their Young Lions Cup. Yeah, exactly. That's a very, very apt comparison. Do you have like a early kind of MVP of the qualifying league?
I'm
going with Ami Sourei.
I mean, she's good. She's very good, and she should be super strong.
You're hopping on the Lady C bandwagon, right?
Never. No.
Oh, come on.
I know.
I know a new Stardom podcast that are very into Lady C.
I appreciate that there's Lady C fans out there, because if she turns out one day to be like, top quality, which she certainly can, like there's nothing to say that she won't be.
Oh God.
Then they get to they got bragging rights forever. You know what I mean? Like you get on the ground floor, you got to stay on the, you know what I mean? Okay. Like it's an investment. But
I mean, she did beat Saya Iida in the mud. Those muscles aren't helping her get those W's.
I'm not thrilled with that. I'm hoping she has a good back end, right? Ooh. That it's, you need the power people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Ami Sourei.
She's tight too. It helps.
The bodyguard that doesn't do a very good job doing body of guarding.
When the Sayas came in, I picked Aida. So I feel like I always got to hype her, and I love Kamitani. Don't get me wrong, she's killing it thing. She's number 2 company. But I picked Aida, so now I need come on, let's go. We're moving. We're racing up that mountain. Let's do it. So hopefully she picks up some dubs here. Time limit draw to Waka outcome, for her.
Yeah, I can't say I don't expect it. People have this, I guess, expectation with Iida. I mean, she's got a nice personality that's very easy to root for. She's a good underdog. I think her height holds her back a lot.
Sure.
And she just doesn't... That injury, really held her back, a full year of her getting, pushed up the card. Maybe this is just a longer story for her to tell a nice underdog story, because she was going to be in the 5-star last year, I believe. Before
injury. She'll find a couple.
I think she'll pull a comeback victory.
Yeah, it's like Saki when Saki was injured. She got injured right before the 5-star.
Yeah,
she got injured the year before that. You need to get a couple months on just to get back to the pacing so much. So to get into a story that has any type of teeth, it's just So I'm cool with it, but yeah, there is a little bit of slow going here since she came back.
So the schedule, they're running a show with a double cage, as in 2 matches in a cage. They got the trios match with DDM and Stars and Queen's Quest.
Yep.
And then they have the little bit of a rushed grudge match with Natsupoi and Tam, whom are doing their damnedest to try to get this over via press conferences and backstage beatdowns and pouring water at each other and going in an elevator.
I think it's going to be good.
I have no doubt it's going to be good. I do wish that they would have spent a little bit more time developing it. It's going a million miles an hour, and I think the other promotion we can kind of point to that's working kind of at a similar pace is AEW. Not necessarily a bad thing. It's definitely keeping the promotion hot, interesting, and really, really. This is my theory. You ready for this? Mm-hmm. Business theory time. Cage match is enthralling. It gets people talking. Rare in Japan, by the way. Only Dragongate kind of has an annual one, which they didn't even do this year, by the way. They have this 5-star qualifying. They have the 5-star coming. This is all elements pointing to get people in the building to your show now to entice them to come back to future shows during the summer when more people want to go out and go to things. And this should, I think it's clear that the idea is to increase attendance as much as you can, make your promotion seem hot, and perception is reality. So then when a lull period comes in between like the August and November thing that we just spoke about on Joshi 2010s,
you turn it up.
That because you've turned up people wanting to come to your shows, they will continue to come and ramp up attendance from there. So from that perspective, I do agree with this move a lot, because you really got to try to change the culture in getting people to go out again.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. They just went from a Cinderella that was like 5 weeks, right, to Mirai versus Saya, to a double cage match. They are moving 1 million miles a minute right now in the lead up to a 5-star, right, while doing a young line.
They're making sure they're trying to do something.
People in the door.
Yeah,
right.
They're trying to make something feel important at least twice a month.
Yeah, and it's a catch-all. They're trying to, like, here's all the things that we're doing. They're just throwing them out there, and they're saying, if you like it, come find it. And people are coming, you know, which is really cool.
They're running stories, they're running angles, they're putting on good matches, which is important. And
it's why I like what you said about Tam and Poi. Not because, yes, of course, in a perfect world, you'd let that breathe again, and you'd let that rebuild, and you'd have a payoff on it. But when you have the cage rental, and you know you can get 2 matches out of it, and if you can pull a story, second of probably 3, and if not more, of Tam Poi from last year. I don't even know if it's their second match, but it's the I think it was. I think this is their second in Stardom. And you can do it on short order. Why not? You know what I mean? It's a little hot shot, but I think that's okay, because when are you doing a cage match again? You know what I mean? So
what are you doing a cage match? You jump off it.
and when haven't you found Tam in a match? Who was in the death match with Io?
Yeah, that was Tam.
Tam. You know what I mean? Like, Tam likes to do these crazy, you know, I don't know the crazy matches. She just likes to be the one that's a part of them.
All right, who's jumping off the cage first, Koguma or Mayu?
I think it better be Koguma. You give that final spot to Mayu.
Is Saya Kamatani going to do a flip off it?
I mean, she has to, right?
They're going to do some wacky shit.
Yeah, it might not be like a crazy like 450 thing, although you never know.
Do you agree with the escape the cage step?
Sure. Like, here's the thing: they've earned the right to give me their
benefit of the doubt.
Well, just their, you know, version or iteration of a cage match. Okay. And we'll see how it goes. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to judge any, because who knows? Maybe it's a very vital part. I'm like, oh, glad they had that. You know, I'm not sure. So we'll see. But, you know, I hope it's good. You know, I'm rooting for the best.
All right. Fair enough. And the last thing I want to talk about before we head out here is Cosmic Angels at Korakuen defeat Colors. Hikaru Shimizu Saki and Yuko Sakurai. Hikaru Shimizu, this is I love this match. Namely because of Tam and Hikaru Shimizu. Obviously Unagi is a menace. Same thing with Mina.
This group is insane, and I
love this group so much. The Cosmic Angels are batshit crazy.
They're like the best Marvel evil villain ever. Like, they're like the actual only people that ever said, we're cosmic entities and we're going to take over the universe, take over the galaxy. They're just going everywhere, and they're like, now you're a cosmic angel. And then we're going to test you, and we're going to do this. I mean, it's just dancing, like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's just this big crazy
anime fan for the anime called Dirty Pair, and Mina and Unagi encapsulate like those two people, and Tam is like a mix between the two. If you've never seen it, I'll point to like a movie or something. I could throw your way, JPQ. But when you see this anime and these two women in it, these two main characters, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, mean Unagi. But
Unagi has a second, but sure, send it over.
So Tam and Hikari Shimizu, it comes down to them, and Tam obliterates this poor woman.
Crushes her. But good for Shimizu for being the last one because she's deserving.
I'm just watching this. She's getting suplexed. She's a fucking ragdoll to Tam Nakano. Tam Nakano is stalking over her corpse, looking down. She punt kicks her face. And then pins her ass with the violet screwdriver because Tam Nakano found her inner Scott Steiner in this match. Just gonna kill a bitch.
She initiated her into the angelness.
And I love it. And they have this like weird infatuation with each other, but when the bell rings, it's all over. And then after she's kicked her face off, she then goes, "I want us to be equals. Let's be buds. We're together on this." And Saki is just like, sure, I guess. And then Unagi grabs the mic, and of course she has to get her one-liner in. "I want this one to be my minion." Like, what does that mean? Gets the mic away from her. Get out of here.
Such a goof.
Love it. Now they're the biggest group, and by Unagi standards, they have the most people. Therefore, they're the best group now in Stardom.
Hey, well, standard logic. It's always good to know where people are coming from.
I love it. I love this so much. This is great.
Isn't it hilarious? Like, Ham, Mina, and Unagi are taking over the indies. Like, it's so funny. They're popping up everywhere. They were in Gampro.
Oh yeah, Unagi showed up on Gambari, and she's like, "I don't know who any of you fools are, but I will assess you."
It's so good. Like, I don't know what it is. Whatever this like turned into, and Unagi's championing it. Great, good decisions by all involved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny.
And then, well, I guess I have one last thing. Kairi, I guess, got tired of Utami's dumb rose and saw that Kamatani does indeed have the white belt, and she's now enthralled with her.
Good. This is what we want. Big match Kairi. That's all I want. I don't want Kairi on, I mean, I say house shows, but they're good shows.
I've been
50
spoken
times a year.
Yeah,
Maybe
I've been
7
spoken
times
that Kairi should beat her. And then whomever beats Kairi becomes a big deal. It's huge.
Huge.
And it could be literally anyone on the roster except
Is Kairi ready? Didn't she just start a gym? Like, right now with Kairi, like, and again, I'm cool with it. If they pull the trigger on it, let's go, baby. Huge. You know, because I would expect that Kairi would come back and just annihilate for a long time. Like an 8 defense run minimum type of thing.
Could be anything.
But, you know, does she want to? You know? Or do you just keep on Kamatani and this is just another... Or maybe it's a timeline draw. Again, that's the most obvious. You know, they TLD
I think I'd be okay with that, actually.
You gotta be okay with it. That you're giving the nod to... And then maybe she beats you a year from now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or
well, we got to get through this Shuri versus Momo, which should be a banger match. And
should be fun.
Saya versus Starlight Kid. That should be good.
Another good one. Mixing it up well.
I'm very down with that matchup. I don't expect either of them to win, like, at all. And I believe that's the right decision.
Yeah, I think, like, you know, again, like, sometimes you just have to have defenses to have defenses. I know that sounds
you keep interest. You keep interest, had a good match.
Sound great, but the reality is that would you rather them not see for the... It's like, I'd just rather see the match.
Right. Okay, so you want us to do nothing.
Some stakes. Right. Like, some stakes is better than no stakes, even though you know the outcome of the stakes. Like, sometimes stakes are just stakes. And so, you know, these should be good matches. And, you know, again, that's what Stardom does best. So,
all right. Well, you just put out Just Joshi mid-year review, the best of throughout the whole scene. I listened to the whole thing.
Nice.
I can't say I technically disagree with your assessments.
I think there's just a lot of favorite moments from two people that really like what a lot of people are doing. Scotty being the other, who's just doing crazy work. I mean, that dude's everywhere. But
yeah, he's making guys like us look bad.
No.
It's like we're not working hard enough. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, no, I mean he's doing a show about AEW, like, or he's doing a show about. Like, God bless him. So So, but he, but it was fun. It was a good time. And it's a lot of catch up. So if you're new to Joshi, say about Joshi now. And then once the summer stuff comes to an end, and you got some tournaments pop, there's a couple things. Now we get to kind of ride it out. And this last episode of Just Joshi kind of gives you a little snapshot of everything that's kind of happened since January. So, hey, if that's something that interests you and you're trying to get into it, it'd be a good resource. If not, no biggie. JD, it's been a lot of fun, man. I enjoy coming on.
Yeah, can't wait to have you on future episodes.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Scotty, you're here.
I am. Can confirm that I am here. I am present.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to throw people off that you are in for the Dragongate section, or as I like to call it, male Stardom.
That's why I'm here. I think you just told everyone why I'm here. Dragongate's awesome, man. I've been getting into it this year, and I'm happy that you asked me to be on to talk King of Gate specifically because, man, what a tournament.
Yes. So for those listening, there's quite a few reasons going on here. So you're a Joshi guy, number 4 that comes on this podcast. There's quite a few of you. There's not a lot of us, but we're all like congregated in the same kind of sector.
Yes.
What isn't out there is a lot of Dragongate coverage, at least from Western fans and podcasting. There's only like 3 people that do these things that I know of, that I'm aware of. And you were really into Noah, which a lot of Western fans do congregate towards because it has the name value, the history, and all that. Well, what doesn't get a lot of that same coverage and, I guess, high praise is Dragongate, which is weird because they have their own network that you can sign up to, while for a while Noah did not. And due to certain events and booking decisions and various many other aspects I like to make fun of with Noah, people have definitely gone away from it as fans have come back in 2022, and people like you, Scotty, have picked up and tried out Dragongate because of the fans that follow it have been speaking highly of it. Am I correct on a lot of these things?
Oh, 100%. And the funny thing about Dragongate is I watched the 2 main events or the 2 title matches from Kobe World last year. And that was like enough for me to be like, okay, I want to get into this. But I never fully committed until the start of this year, which is really weird because like the Kai run, you would think I would not be doing that. But he's turned it around over the past last title match. I was going to say all of them. And the one before that, I think. Either way. But I'm really into it. Like you said, I was liking Noah, and then obviously, like many people, I was like, oh, this stinks. Once they pretty much gave the keys to the 57-year-olds. So I'm here in Dragongate, and it's so funny because I'm talking about the Noah embracing the old, while we're about to talk about a tournament that embraced the new talent, and that's what I love about Dragongate. And I'm in the driver's seat moving forward with this promotion. It's the best, man.
Yeah, and over the last, I would say year and a half at this point, Dragongate has gone full steam ahead with pushing this new generation and consistently pumping out new rookies and seeing who will stick, seeing who they can push. And that hasn't gone away. And ironically, or maybe not ironically is the right word, but after Kobe World last year, when Yamato won the title, there was a sense of excitement because we're just like, okay, so he's the ace of Dragongate situation. He's on his 5th run. They're going to do something cool with this. And myself included, I was like, one of these young guys is going to beat him. And it's going to be really cool. And a lot of the build to these big title matches Yamato had were no good. Maybe the match was good in the end, but you were so out of the story that it was kind of it was what I like to call vacuum booking situation, where it's like, okay, the booking sucked, we're not into it, but I guess the match was good, and you just kind of go from there. And then the year ended in Kai's champion, and we didn't know what to make of that, and it all kind of hit me where I was like, well, yeah, we just spent the last 2.5 years building up for this moment with Kai, of all people. And the first, I would say, 3-4 months of this year, I would say his reign has been nothing. If not, I think it's been pretty bad, honestly, up until his last couple defenses. The Shimizu defense was okay. I did like the match in a vacuum. And then right when he got to the Yokosuka defense, that's when it's like, okay, this run has now reached a point where we're invested in it, and we can't wait to see who beats him. And we hope it's one of these young guys. That's where I'm at now. And the stories leading to King of Gate, where we're at now, has been very slow getting here. But we are finally here. And the first half of the year has been unquestionably about Dragon Dia and the team of DeCourage that has been focused around him, and on the side has been this continuing story with Shun Skywalker and Jason Lee. What's happened now in the last podcast went essentially to the quarterfinals of King of Gate, and I've had like no feel on what Dragongate is going to book tomorrow kind of situation. All I know is that Kai is champion. The Triangle Gates have changed hands every time someone makes a defense, including in Noah now. It's happening.
Twice.
Yes, twice. Little notes in the Observer that are kind of funny, and Dragongate fans are trying to dispute this information left and right, which is always funny, Scotty, as someone who follows Stardom and Joshi fandom. Whenever some news comes out about that, the Joshi fans just go up in arms like it's all fake news. None of it's real. Oh, yeah. And it turns out that it's all, we know better. It's like probably fed information, and it's a mixture of being worked, and that's just kind of the reality of it. Same thing happens out of New Japan, while Dragongate doesn't have that same sort of, I would say, care and notice to a lot of it. But here we are, before I keep getting sidetracked. And now in hindsight, after Yuki Yoshioka has won this King of Gate, it kind of makes sense. DeCourage has been the tag team. The first half was about Dragon Dia. Now this second half, seemingly, is going to be about Yuki Yoshioka and his story. I think we all, at the end of Kobe World last year, obviously thought, man, a year from now, this is going to be headlined by Kai versus Dragon Inferno.
Yeah, I think that's like, to me, that's the best part of Dragongate, though, is like it is unpredictable. I think, we're about to talk about the rest of this tournament, and I know you talked about the early part of the tournament already, but this ended up going down as my favorite tournament so far this year because it had every mix you want. It had surprises, had great wrestling, had a great winner, had a great closing day, and obviously the New Japan Cup was great, but there was a lot of matches in there, and some of them stunk. The Cinderella tournament's a different animal. I don't look at the Cinderella tournament like I do other tournaments, but King of Gate rocked. And you bring that up, who would have thought that at least one of the nights on Kobe World, because we don't know for sure yet, that Yoshioka versus Kai was going to be that headliner. But I'm excited for it, man.
Well, yeah, one of them, they're doing the double shot again at Kobe. One of them is a tribute to Ultimo Dragon. There's a lot of like Torimon-esque from the early 2000s booking and stories being told in the ring currently. Because if you watch any of those old shows, there's a lot of parallels going on that you can tell. And really, outside of the over-the-top rope rule that was going on, I really compared, as the more I watched it, the Cinderella and King of Gate this year were a lot alike to each other. Including, well, I think Dragongate had a bigger field, sort of, but there was an absurd amount of roll-up finishes in King of Gate this year. That drove me like nuts.
Yeah, there were a lot. But the way that they pulled off surprises, especially in that first round, I was okay with it. And then you have, I don't know, everything was. I really enjoyed it, but I'm with you that you don't want roll-ups, you want definitive wins, and it was especially on those house shows where you got a lot of those. Some roll-ups. Again, it's a house show. That's the weird thing I'm still trying to learn with King of Gate, right? Is like they have these house shows that aren't even on their network, but they put them on YouTube. And it's like, well, what am I going to go into this and expect? There was one really good match out of all of them, but it's weird. It's weird. I'm still learning, man.
Yeah, Dragongate gets a little tricky in watching it because you could easily overexpose yourself to the house shows where the guys, let's just say, put on their T-shirts a lot of the times. Because they run a lot. Dragongate runs a hell of a lot of shows. But overall, I would say I got some good matches out of there. Some hit better than others. My MVP, if I'm not picking the winner of this tournament, was Kaito Ishida, personally. What about you, Scotty?
Yeah, if I'm not picking the winner, because obviously Yoshioka, I think, just was phenomenal. Yeah, I think I can't say KZ, even though he had one of my favorite matches, because I thought that first round match was great.
That was my match of the tournament. That first round match, KZ versus Kota Minoura on May 22nd. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. Ishida's good. I'll go with. I really liked Shun's work in here in the tournament. I thought he was great. He's always great. He's one of my favorites. So this is a little selfish of a pick, but I thought his heel work, to take KZ out was great. He had good matches all throughout. And really, I got to watch his heel work develop. Instead of trying to being goofy, he really embraced those heel factors. He smashes KZ in the head with a chair to take him out. And it's like, oh, man, you just took out the favorite by cheating that blatantly. And it's like, okay, that means you're doing your job right. I think people forget how good heels can be when they do these types of things. And, I see a lot of discussion by people of like, oh, heels aren't the same that they were used to be. Shun Skywalker is doing it, and he's doing it great right now. So I'm gonna give him the MVP when it comes to non-winner.
Interesting, because I thought that was his only good match in the entire tournament. Was that one against KZ? Because I thought KZ with
the first.
Well, his first one was that snooze fest against Eita. They kind of brawled outside the ring, and it was heel on heel, and because Eita's still doing this Paris Damal thing, and I've been very outspoken where I don't like how I like the split of Eita into Ishida out of RED and then the formation of Z-Brats, but where Eita and Ishida have gone, I haven't been a fan of how they've executed them, because Ishida, I thought it was going to be because okay, let me backtrack. Eita was outspoken saying this is not over kind of situation, and then they threw him into that weird backstory with Santa Maria, and Ishida just kind of went away, and now he's in gold class where he's the third man in the group. Well, I guess you could argue fourth because Minorita gets focused more than him currently.
He sure does.
Yeah. So anyways, haven't been a fan of that. There's always going to be something you can nitpick about a promotion. So with how much of the rest of the cards have been played out and stories are going on, Dragongate's pretty much hitting right now. I just have a lot of questions with their bigger shows going forward. So Yuki Yoshioka, it's great that they're pushing a young guy. They give him a huge win. Did you get the feeling his outside? Before I say my piece, though, do you feel that Yuki Yoshioka got strong enough wins in this tournament to kind of put him over? Because in my opinion, they sort of came out of nowhere, at least when I compare it to Dragon Dia.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at the opponents, obviously, that alone will tell someone, okay, he got big wins. But I will say, going into this tournament, I had zero clue that Yuki Yoshioka was going to make it, to the final, let alone win the whole thing. Because of that reason, it was Dragon Dia, and he kind of felt like the background player, right, of the duo. Not that he was bad, but I mean, as someone that's, again, still new to this, and you're telling me you didn't really see it coming, he beats Yamato, he beats what did he beat? Diamante?
He did. That was a very strong match as well.
Yeah, he beat June.
Not
right?
a very strong match.
No, that was a short miniature one.
I gotta say that those two semifinal matches felt like a complete waste of time.
Yeah, they were just to get to the final. Right?
Yeah, I don't think that was executed well at all.
But I thought the final was great. So it's like, and he beats Minoru in the final. So it's like he beat every big name you could possibly give him, pretty much. But I was not prepared for it at all. Like, I was shocked every time he won, except for like beating Diamante. Like, by then I had a clue what was going on. But yeah, it was out of nowhere. It was so out of nowhere. I was not prepared for it whatsoever.
Yeah, and that kind of goes, I was thinking about this quite a lot, because I was listening to your latest Scott E. Talks that's over on YouTube. You want to give that a quick plug?
Yes, free plug. It's on YouTube. Scotty Wrestling on YouTube. Subscribe, please. Thank you.
Yeah, and you were talking about Dragongate, which is great because I wanted you on here before that was even released, so good timing there.
It was.
And you guys were discussing some things that I hear, whether it's like Open the Voice Gate, like those guys, and there's a couple other podcasts when they talk about Dragongate, that the style of shows and how they, obviously they're a lot about factions, just like Stardom, but when it comes to like the frequency of singles matches, that's where I think this promotion holds themselves back too much. Mm-hmm. Because they only have about 5 or 6, big-ish shows a year. I'm kind of including Champions Gate in that, where it's like a whole weekend, and you could throw in maybe like a Wakayama in kind of situation. But the only there's only 2 people that ever get singles matches throughout the year, and that's the Dreamgate and Bravegate champion. And
right.
I think that really hurts this promotion in heating people up in the proper way to be single stars, if that makes sense.
Yes, I agree. From my time noticing, I'm a big singles match guy. I know people love tag teams, they love trios, and don't get me wrong, Dragongate does amazing trios matches.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
But I like me my singles matches, and every time you turn on one of their shows that are on Dragongate Network, it's one of the many shows that they do that aren't pay-per-views. It's like, oh, well, these are tags that I can just watch, but how am I supposed to see anyone heat up from a trios win? Like, come on, man.
I mean, that's kind of what you got to get used to. It's a different booking pattern, different strategy of the promotion. But like with Yuki Yoshioka, it would have been nice to see, because he was always like on the back end of falls as well. And Dia was actually losing like the tag matches and whatnot. But like I said, he was the story. It wasn't Yoshioka. So when he won, I'm getting scatterbrained here. Forgive me, because there's a lot to really break down with Yoshioka winning this tournament. There's just so much I just don't know, and even listening to other people and reading what other people kind of are going back and forth along. We'll call them message boards just for simplicity. Yeah. Like nobody picked him to win. It was always like, everyone's hoping for KZ time. That'll never come. Kota Minoura seems like he's been heated up for like a year now. Maybe SB Kento, but he's kind of short. And then eventually people will go, Dark Horse. I don't know, Yoshioka. It was always like that kind of. It was like who's like out in left field there that's alone that might make me look cool if I pick him. Kind of. It's almost like the Mirai pick in Stardom.
Yes, except her push was a lot more prominent than his going into the tournament.
Right, you could tell, and there was protection, and there was the past title match situation, but I think they're not too far off in similarities there.
Yeah, for sure. She was not picked by many. She was that left field pick. They're like, oh, I could see it, but no. But I will say, like, going back to that conversation that we just had of, heating someone up before a tournament, Mirai was at that point, right, where you could believe it a little more than Yoshioka, but I get what you're saying, because I think the Stardom field had a lot more favorites than this one, maybe.
Right.
So that also has to play with it.
Okay, so we got Yoshioka as king of Gate, and he's declared himself the next challenger towards Kai, who's been a shit heel champion, as in the character, which is fair. That's fine. He's definitely different, which I don't have an issue with. He did have the really good Yokosuka defense and whatnot, and I am so like 60-40, 70-30 that Kai is going to retain this title. There's just a part of me that just does not see Yoshioka as champion material yet, because there's just so many other factors I have to consider of who's considered a main eventer currently and who they want to push as a main eventer. Like when Shun Skywalker left and came back, he felt like a megastar making his big return, and you could immediately see him winning that title, and he did, and I thought he had a phenomenal run in the early part of last year, leading into Kobe World, and then he lost to Yamato. I don't get that same feeling with Yoshioka, despite a tournament win. It feels like Mirai winning, where he'll get the title shot, and then just lose, and that'll be a part of a bigger push down the line. That's my feeling on it.
I 100% agree. Obviously, I think Yoshioka is a better wrestler than Kai, so would I love to see him win just for the selfishness of wanting better title matches? Yes, but I'm right there with you. I like the Mirai comparison again, because it does feel like a bigger story than just, oh, he won this tournament, he goes on to Kobe World, wins the title. No. It doesn't feel like that. There does feel like there's other options for or to beat Kai. And I do wonder if or when that happens, because I know Kai, I mean, I don't know how the attendance is going. I just know Stardom kicks their ass. Had to get that in there. Oh, I feel good about that.
At least on house shows.
On house shows. Pay-per-views, that doesn't count.
Well, I mean, that's a different thing, because for
Stardom has a million pay-per-views.
Well, strength of schedule, Stardom is much more difficult, but they pop higher houses. But I will point to something that Dragongate's been behind on, and that's Korakuen Hall.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, they're not a Tokyo-based promotion, but even if we go towards Kobe, just heading out there, I know Stardom doesn't run as much, but Stardom has a slightly higher attendance there. It's just the strength of schedule and schedule differences, that just goes into, I think Dragongate kind of holds themselves back too much, and they don't like to take chances, but they're not backed by a major money grabber, so I don't think they can do that half the time. Different conversations, of course. I'm kind of just trying to get a feel for what Dragongate is doing. Now watch them turn around and like Yoshioka wins on night 1 of the Ultimo show, and then on night 2 he loses. Like, I'll throw Yamato out there just because, shits and giggles, because that's always the joke. But they could do that. They could have him win on night 1 and lose on night 2. That's very possible.
It'd be a hell of a move. First off, I want 2 title matches again. I don't want like this Ultimo Dragon, anniversary show to take away from a second title match. So I'm just going to hope and assume that's what they're going to do. And if that's the case, I think if there's 2 title matches, I don't think you can have Kai walk out of there as champion. I think that's my biggest takeaway.
I don't know. I've never.
I mean, you can, obviously, but I would prefer it doesn't happen.
Ever since Kai won this title, I feel like I've been alone in thinking that this is not going to be a short run, and here we are 6 months later, and he still has the title.
We've reached the non-short run now. We are there. We've accomplished the not so short run. 6 months is barometer.
You're right, but kind of like with the Saya Kamitani run, I really get the feeling that the next one could be a loss at any point in time, which makes it kind of exciting. The same thing happens with Jurassic Express and AEW with the tag title. This is the time.
That one's just wild because you get. I'm not doing this. That is a good point, though. That's actually hysterical. I didn't think about it like that. Yeah, I think the comparison to the Kamitani run's perfect. And like you said, it adds that excitement going into these shows. So now when I'm watching a Kai defense, I'm like, oh my God, he could lose. And of course, if they're going to put him against, I don't know, I guess they can put him against anyone and I'll believe it. But that for me is always exciting. If you can create uncertainty with your top title every time the wrestler goes out there, you're doing something right, because that makes the match better, that makes the event itself better, and it creates a buzz that you want to create with your champion.
Yeah. The other things I want to talk about are the current state of the factions, which is kind of fascinating. So we have Decourage kind of offset from all these others as a tag team. So we know what's happening with Yoshioka, and Daya's the Bravegate champion. I was kind of hoping that they would stick in this Twin Gate situation a little bit longer. Doesn't look like they're going that route. Twin Gate's a big mystery with me right now, because Shun and Diamante are the champions, which is a great team. I just don't know who they're going to be up against. Maybe like a KZ Jason Lee situation.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Strong Machine J just joined Natural Vibes now with the outage of Susumu Mochizuki now. I'm just going to keep calling him Yokosuka for the time being, just to separate him. But Strong Machine J, Mr. Personality Breakdancer now. This is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It's rad as hell.
I watched him dance for the first time. I was like, whoa, where did this come from? Natural Vibes is a wild unit right now. If you just look at all the names, very talented.
Yeah, and if they can do, like, if they can slot KZ and Jason Lee in there, I'd totally buy into that. I just don't know if they're going to go that route. I just don't know what route they're going to go on at all. For all I know, it could be because Kota Minoura has now lost his second straight King of Gate finals situation, which, by the way, what do you think about that kind of move there? Kota Minoura was out in round one, and then due to the Jason Lee injury, they just had the last chance battle royal situation. Was that executed well enough for you? Do you agree that throwing in Kota Minoura like that and having him lose another finals was a good move for the guy?
It was kind of shocking to me, because obviously Minoura is a guy that I think everyone can believe that they're going to build around in the future.
Maybe.
And maybe, right. Because now we're at the point where we're talking about, okay, he has 2 failed finals. He, at least from my, watching, he does have a tendency to, like, not always be charismatic in a way. He's kind of dry in a sense. I don't know if that's a, known thing, but he does feel kind of dry. That doesn't mean he can't succeed. Of course he can succeed. The amount of dry wrestlers that have succeeded in professional wrestling are, countless. But having him lose 2 finals, it's almost like now you need to build him to a point where he gets a big win, because back to back, obviously this wasn't supposed to happen, but Jason Lee's injury changed everything. Now it's like, okay, so what do you do with Minoura? Do you just keep having him be a part of Gold Class and show up in the pretty robe and just kind of be heelish? I like the teasing that Gold Class is doing, kind of becoming tweeners and eventually heels, because you have what's the little shit's name? Minorita?
Yeah, Minorita.
Yeah, he's very good at his little annoying shtick that he does, and that's very heelish, and that helped him get there to begin with, and it worked. It's just, for me, it's like, what is next? Because I don't have an answer, obviously. I mean, I'm still very new to Dragongate, but it sounds like no one really knows what Kota Minoura is going to do, because you got rid of him in the first round. Great match to get rid of him. And then you get rid of him again. It's like, okay, so 2 finals in a row. Now he has to rebuild again, despite already losing. He lost twice in the same tournament.
Yeah, I don't really have an issue with the Last Chance Battle Royal because they did that last year, and that's how KZ ended up
won,
winning.
right?
However, because they had Kota Minoura like win that thing and then just seemingly go on to lose again, and the semifinal was quite bad. I did not like the Shuji Kondo roll up. I would have vastly preferred they put in the time for that Yoshioka Skywalker match to be more than what it was. And Kondo just simply got a bye into the finals. I think that would have created a better story. He already has that stomping of the champion in the first round and that good match against Ishida. I think the job was done there, and you had something built in for Shuji Kondo, which is a guy they haven't done much with since he came back into the Dragongate fold after many, many years away. I think he's been highly underutilized, and he's pretty awesome. I know he had that Achilles injury for a little while, but he's back now, and they're still just kind of hesitant on him. They're weirdly protecting him, but not. I didn't really like it, and I don't think the objective of the finals would have changed, whether it was Kondo or Minoura, and I wouldn't be questioning all of these things about Kota Minoura now, because he is in gold class. He's not a great promo, which is very important in Dragongate, which separates them from a lot of, well, at least the male promotion side of Puro.
Right.
Gold class is now leaning heel, which creates another like interesting factor that Dragongate isn't about like all these heel factions going on. It's a very much babyface centric at the top promotion, which is very interesting to think about compared to a lot of other aspects of wrestling. So essentially, there's 3 heel groups in Natural Vibes.
Yeah. Okay, so my whole thing is I like gold class being heel, but I am with you is like, okay, so you're gonna have all these heel factions, then where do you go, right? Like, you're not gonna turn Z-Brat's babyface tomorrow. That ain't happening. They are the heel group. I'm often so like, just because I'm still so very new to this, it's like being a fan, but it's also very confusing because I know the faction thing's very much like the not. It's kind of a point with Dragongate. It's like, just never fall in love with a faction because they're gonna change. Probably in 2 months, a month, maybe less.
It's usually a year.
Listen. I jumped in. I liked Masquerade, and they no longer exist.
Well, you jumped in too late because they were around for like a year.
I did, but I don't know. I thought they were a good group. They were a good group, but now I'm just following all their rest.
No, that's relevant to the conversation because they also had an issue with promos.
Mm-hmm,
and why is Gold Class having a little bit more legs to it? Well, Naruki Doi is a good promo. And he's the voice of the group. He's the guy, but it's about Kota Minoura, and I don't think I'm really questioning if it's accomplishing what they hoped it would for the guy, and why he wasn't given this shot over Yoshioka, because he's the guy that feels like he's been heated up over the time, and the Benkei experiments like totally done with. He's not a guy anymore.
No, he's not a guy at all, which is, again, shocking for me, because isn't he the guy? He beat Pac, right?
He did, and then he went on this really cool run where he was beating all of the past champions and ended up losing to Naruki Doi in the end, which accomplished it. But once that was over, he was just, okay, bro, that didn't work out the way we wanted it to.
Really?
Because right. I'd have to look at the numbers again, but I think he didn't draw all that well as a singles champion type guy. He's a great like twin gate dude, which is
how did Pac draw? Do you remember?
Good.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Good. I'd love if he came back, by the way. Just selfishly, I'd love if Pac walked into Dragongate tomorrow.
Boy, if he shows up at Kobe and beats Kai, I'd be cool with that.
That would be sick.
just shows back up at Dynamite and he's like, fuck your all Atlantic title. I got this Japanese title right here.
It's a nice that would be great. Imagine that. I kind of want to ask you, who do you think if they do 2 title matches, who do you think they would put against the winner of a Kai Yoshioka?
See, that's another problem. I don't know. I just don't know who you'd put there because
Could he be Kai?
Well, the classics dudes would be like Yamato, Naruki Doi, maybe Dragon Kid, but I guess BB Hulk you could kind of throw in there. But they're not the dudes well, Yamato kind of is. I'll go with Yamato.
Yeah,
it's always just LOL Yamato, right?
Yeah.
They love using
I've learned
him
that quickly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I really like Yamato. It's just too much. He gets way too much into the grapple fuck too much, and then it's not really him. It's just how Dragongate tends to go between shows, and they spin their wheels, and then you just lose all this momentum with the champion, and it just kind of goes off the rails a little bit. It's, again, my kind of biggest critique about Dragongate is mostly just their schedule and how they present things, while the storytelling's pretty top-notch most of the time.
Yeah. Well, that's like the thing with Suzumu and Kai. I felt that storytelling without, really following the story, because I just knew what it was all about with the dropping the name and everything. And that's why I thought that match was great, because of that storytelling and how fantastic those two worked. And it's part of the reason I got so excited for King of the Gate is because you go from Dead or Alive, that great main event, a great show overall, they had a lot of good matches on there, to the King of Gate. And I'm still very confused as to where they go now, because Yoshioka, yes, that is the place to go. But, you're talking about how Twin of Gate is not really a clear thing. KZ and Jason Lee make sense because of the Jason Lee story, and KZ getting eliminated via chair. But I don't know, man. I guess this is the fun part for me as just someone so new to it, but you're not new to it, and you're also like, I have no idea. So it's like, maybe this could be a problem.
And I'm not alone on that. And there's definitely a sense of mystery that makes Dragongate fun to follow. And I always say this, like, the best way to follow Dragongate, in my opinion, is their major shows. They always have them at least a monthly one. They have a monthly Korakuen, Kyoto, and if you can squeeze it in, the Kobe Sambo Hall. Like, those are your shows. The Fukuoka shots, some of these Sapporo things, like the house shows, skip them. Because otherwise, like, that's how I prevent burnout from that. And you're still watching possibly 4 shows a month, which is like essentially weekly television. Kind of like how we watch Stardom, where they always have a weekend show kind of situation, and then a pay-per-view at the end of the month.
I learned the house show situation very quickly this week. I was in the middle of a match, and I said, all right, I'm done. I'm not watching this. So, yeah, thank you for giving me, like, those exact spots, because, man, I was a little confused.
Yeah, they get rough in between, and if something, like, all of a sudden bangs and whatnot, word will get around. It's like, okay, that's the match I need to watch on a house show situation. Or I want to see this angle, but they usually save the angles for something like a Korakuen anyways. It's just the way they operate. Yeah. Okay. So, Scotty, new fan. Who are the 2 guys you've gravitated to the most in Dragon Gate?
I love Shun. I love that dude. He's awesome. I liked him before he was a heel, so him turning heel, I liked that story. Obviously, he was champion when I first watched Dragon Gate for the first time. Had that great match with KZ. Had that great match with Yamato. So, like, if you're a good wrestler, you usually win me over. And I am the silly one that also loves KZ, and I've accepted he's just probably never going to win anything. But I just like his style. I like his tag team work. I like all of his work. So those are probably my main 2. And then Dragon Dia. You didn't ask for 3, but I wanted to toss Dragon Dia in there.
So now that you've said 3, I don't think your opinion now counts. I think that's how this works. Yeah.
Shit. Well, act like I said no on that.
No, well, I
actually
can't.
Don't like anyone.
No, I can't do that. Yeah, I kind of switch between a lot of people every now and again, but right now it is. I've never left KZ. I really like my unachievable mid-carders. I love these guys.
He's so good, and I'm new, and I still accept he's just never going to get his moment. It's very sad, but
Well, after
true.
Kobe last year, I, on the podcast live, poured out sake, and I just went, you know what? Here's for you, bro. Never again.
I was going to say that if there was a moment, that was the one.
I like worked myself on purpose, and then I fell for it on purpose, and then I like worked myself that it wasn't on purpose. It was a wild time. But Jackie Funky Kamai is a guy I've really like. He's my next Casey.
He's awesome.
He's never gonna win the Dreamgate title, but goddamn it, I'm rooting for him for anything.
He's my next Casey. I'm happy you have one prepped up for yourself.
And one last bit of news from Dragongate. They had another Torimon show, kind of like a reunion, and it was more or less all about the debut of another rookie, because Dragongate loves pumping these out faster than the Joshi scene. Unfortunately, it's kind of a dig at the Joshi scene there. Kind of.
Damn it.
Yeah, wish more rookies would pop up, but you know.
Shout out Miyu Amasaki.
Is she the last one that's debuted in like the entire scene?
Yes.
Oh my god. Ugh. Oh, that's
Isn't
frightening.
she from Kobe?
I don't know. I've never actually.
That's when she has her
looked into
special
it.
shows, I'm pretty sure. No, that's Kyoto. Never mind.
It was really this Torimon show was a vessel for the debuting rookie of Masaki Mochizuki's son, and he looks exactly like him, like even got a matching mannerisms. And Yakotsuka, now also Mochizuki, so now they're M3K, beautiful name. Play off the M2K old group. And this is a great direction. Nepotism can be good at times, and I think this is a good place. They got 2 veterans and a rookie. He's already hurt, by the way. So funny how that works. Where these rookies debut and their bodies just quickly reject the schedule. Amasaki had the same deal. It's like, okay,
She did.
took a lot of bumps, rest the body for a little bit, get used to it situation. Supposedly there's some friction in the back about this nepotistic move, but I think that'll pass. Yeah,
I think so too. I thought he, not that you asked, but I thought his debut was very solid. He wrestles a lot like his dad, which is not a bad thing.
yeah.
Karate background? Is that correct?
We'll call it striking.
Yeah, I think that's what I thought someone said karate, but yeah, striking. So automatically a win for me. And his name is Mochizuki Jr. That's the name they're giving him.
Yeah, it's very lucha based. I love it.
Yeah, I'm down. they did El Hijo del.
If they didn't do that part, but it is Mochizuki Jr. that would
It pretty
be
much
funny.
is, yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of characters in flux in Dragongate, a lot of maneuvering around the roster of who's on top, who's going to be in the mid card. You got a feel for who's the focus right now with Daya, Yoshioka, and Skywalker. I think those are kind of your 3 dudes, which is saying something because Kai's the champion, yet no one can beat him unless it's a house show, which is very strange. It's very not Dragongate.
Very strange.
And SB Kento is kind of
Kuma leave?
Fujiwara and Estrella are going to Mexico on excursion, while all the other rookies are now retired, such as the other Ihashi brother, which is a bummer. But all those guys are in their like late 20s. They got injured, and that's very common in wrestling. If you debut late and just immediately get injured, you're done.
What a sad reality.
Yeah. While comparatively, if you're in like your early 20s, a torn ACL isn't going to have the same kind of damage backtrack that you having that same injury when you're 29. Just kind of the reality of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Scotty, thank you for joining. I think that covers all the Dragongate I want to discuss. It's a lot of mystery right now, which is a different sort of topic that we can't really, I guess, predict, which it has its own level of excitement.
I like I like not being able to predict. I think that's why I kind of attach, outside of it being like, a lot like Stardom in some ways. is that the mystery is always fun. Now, do I wish that they announced matches for cards? Yes, I do wish they did that. But if they're house shows that I'm never going to watch, then I don't really care. You can do whatever you want.
Well,
thank you for having me.
Well, I mean, that's been annoying me all year. Is even on their big shows, they don't announce full cards.
Yeah, the big shows, those are the ones that I'm like, why? Why wouldn't you announce that beforehand? That's how you get.
I'm a firm believer these mystery cards are holding back their attendances.
I would have to agree, because if you see a big match, guess what? You're going to buy a ticket. That's just common wrestling knowledge. That's common booker knowledge for anything in the world.
Yeah, they just announced talent is on show, and then you just don't know what you're going to. And
talent is on show. Everyone.
I think that's a big reason why King of Gate drew less than a Stardom Korakuen with no title matches.
Yeah, it really is though, right? Because. Yes. There was even more uncertainty going to that show. They didn't announce the Battle Royal until the show started, right?
Well, I mean, Jason Lee was concussed, and I guess I'm sure that was like announced that he was out of the tournament prior. I didn't hear about it because I'm just not into. I don't follow the Japanese media as close as I do for something like Stardom, which is fair. I didn't really think twice about it. I'm like, oh, okay, that's why there was a Battle Royal. I didn't give that too much negativity at all. So.
Wow, you're learning.
What do you mean I'm learning?
You didn't go negativity. You could have gave some negativity.
I could have bitched, but
exactly, that's my point. You didn't bitch.
Like the part I did bitch about was Kota Minoura losing again the right decision, which is a different
that's fair
factor.
And the 2 matches not mattering before that. That's fair.
Hey, that's their choice.
Yeah, that is their choice.
You want to have a shitty roll up in 4 minutes? That's your decision.
Yeah, that one still leaves a sour taste in my mouth. They could have had a great match too.
They could have. I really makes me question if there's some sort of like string pulling in the back with Kondo that you can't bury me, brother, kind of situation. But I don't know. I don't know. He wasn't Wrestle One a long time with Keiji Muto. I'm not saying that there was some osmosis going on, but.
Oh man, you got a Muto dig in. This guy might be retiring in like 5 hours, and you still gave
Scotty. They've been talking about him retiring since 1997.
Listen, my hope is he's joining the junior division and running shit there. He's just gonna be like, I'm gonna lose weight. I'm joining the junior division. And I'm gonna beat everyone. I'm just gonna clap from outside as everyone complains.
I'm okay
actually,
with that.
No, everyone hates the junior champion, so it actually might work.
I'm okay with that. I'm leaning more towards he's going to announce his title challenge coming back.
Oh my god, it'd be amazing. This isn't has anything to do with Dragongate, but that's entertainment.
Well,
no,
it has a lot to do with Dragongate because the triangle situation and Nosawa is getting his like grubby hands at the Knights of the Round Table there at Dragongate. He's kind of like that dude on behind the table, and he puts his hand on the dude's shoulder. Hey. Triangle Gate's mine, remember?
He's the you know how you have like the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other?
Rio Saito. Yeah, Rio Saito's got Yoshino on one side and Nosawa on the other. I can see Nosawa like Yoshino goes, hey, don't listen to that guy. He's like, oh, you're gonna listen to that fucker with the busted neck? Can't even turn his head this way.
Oh, man.
He would say those things.
He would.
Yeah, definitely would say those things from Nosawa. All right, Scotty. Got you long enough. A long Dragon Gate section of this podcast. Very rare, but I really wanted to do it. It's the end of King of Gate, and we're heading into Kobe World. It's the hot season in Dragon Gate, some say.
I'm really excited for Kobe World. Like, very, very excited. And maybe that's just me being... kind of first time going into it, because last time I just watched the main events after it happened because I think I saw you singing the praises of it and others, obviously. But
they got 2 whole months to get to that show, which is a long time for Yoshioka versus Kai.
Yeah, not a lot of big shows in there, huh?
Yeah, weird, right?
Don't like that.
Okay, that's it for Dragon Gate. Okay, everybody, I am Solo from here on out, and we're talking VXV WXW out of Germany. One of my favorite promotions that I've been following for quite a while, and boy, it feels like they're back and they're doing some good things. There was that short period there, kind of between 16 Karat Gold and now, where they were kind of flip-flopping the title a little around between Tristan Archer and Jurn Simmons. And it sure seemed like a way to kind of gear up the house show tours and make it more important. And if you kind of axe those out and just kind of focus on these certain We Love Wrestling shows, or we'll call them network specials, because they're not pay-per-view, but they're monthly big show, that everything has come together and made a lot of sense across the last month and a half with WXW. Tristan Archer is on I can't say reign of terror yet, but and I use that in a good sense, because him with his French gimmick, and now more or less teaming up with Rot and Flot, that's Schenkenberg and Nikita Charisma, whom they're actually got two guys that started out as these annoying undercarders, but now that they've kind of aligned themselves with Tristan Archer, and they've slowly went up the card the last 6 weeks, them winning the tag titles on the show in a three-way with a very interesting caveat that they threw in there, I think was a great set of storytelling and good booking on their part. And I must always remind that WXW doesn't have the top end, high end wrestling that you kind of associate even with some American indies, Japanese puro. So what they do is, yes, there is still good wrestling, but they have to make up for a lot of that in their storytelling and match structures. How can they protect guys? How can they continue a story with a small roster? There's a lot of caveats that go into WXW, and I've really been vocal that I think they're one of the best promotions that are out there, and they're always trying to grow their audience and get over new stars. And you really get the feeling as you're watching them that you could see any one of these guys break out and possibly even get to a much larger stage. Malachi Black, Walter, Axel Dieter Jr., the returning Axel Tischer was in WWE for a stint. There's Lucky Kid. There's a number of guys that are now in NXT UK. Guys have moved up and moved on, and they wouldn't have been capable of that without, I believe, the training and the ability to be trained for essentially Western-style wrestling in both structure and working with booking. And this show is a good example of that. And I'm just going to kind of run through a lot of it. There's two shows here, one from Dresden at the Kraftwerk Mitte. They got 440 people here, and I'm going to actually pull up what they pulled when they came back in Dresden last year, because they did True Colors. They're trying to get their schedule back on track. They got 480 at their return show in Dresden, so they're a little down at 440, with Axel Tischer gunning for the title again on the same show. So maybe there's a little repetitiveness here, but 40-50 people is kind of negligible, I think. I believe that's okay, and it is definitely a weaker-esque card than the last time they're there. We got Senza Volto and Igo Blanc, the two French high flyers, going at it. They're trading wins. They're having great matches, good Lucha Libre-esque type moves. Recommend that match. Bobby Guns defeated Lavagno, 9 minutes. Baby Allison defeated Eva Kolaski. Decent little 6-minute match. I've been very critical over what the women's division has been doing, and there is definitely something we can look forward to. I think there's a star on the rise here. I'll get into her in a second. Rotten Flot won the tag titles in a 3-way. Fast Time Muto went in it alone because Stephanie Mays, man, this woman just cannot catch a break. Her knees just aren't cooperative. I believe she's still she might be training for MMA. I'm not sure. I heard some rumors about it. So take that with a grain of salt. Regardless, she was not at the show. They did not choose to vacate the titles. They made a story out of it with the Arrows of Hungary in this match as well. So they were not able to recapture those titles. Instead, it's the new heel duo of Rot und Flott. And I thought this was a very good storytelling match for what was to come. And you got the title. I want to see Fast Time Muto really get into this main event, or at least go for the shotgun title. But with the shotgun title, man, you just can't, they aren't missing with this right now. Robert Dreisker was in the back being interviewed. And they had a number of different interviews on the show, but this was the one that stood out. Robert Dreisker's being the top heel in the company outside of Tristan Archer. And as he's doing this interview and he's running down, why he's doing all these decisions, blah, blah, blah. A woman gets like the mic boom kind of lowered inside the camera shot, and he gets annoyed and he chews her out, and she mean mugs him, and he's like, all right, we'll go and do this in the ring. And this is something I'm actually quite happy WXW is doing, is because the roster's small and they still gotta have like something to do with their women's division, and they can't just wrestle each other over and over again. That gets very stale very fast. They're kind of doing a little bit more stories, especially with women they want to get over higher and better, and that can go with the men. They're putting stories like this in there. So it's Robert Dreisker versus Orshi, who comes from the Hungarian dojo, the Arrows of Hungary guys. So, yeah, Hungarian connection, here to stay. And it goes 7 minutes, and Robert Dreisker sells his ass off for her, makes her look like $1 million, €1 million. And eventually, it's kind of like the Lufisto match in 16 Karat, where she gets her offense in, she looks like she's going to win, and then it's just a big kind of splash in the Dreisker bomb, and it's over. And I loved how Dreisker, like, Arrows of Hungary come down, they're very worried over their student. She put up a good fight, and Dreisker bombs her, and then turns her and puts his forearm in her face and stares right at them as he pins her. Good stuff there. Maggot is still super over. He's the shotgun champion. His entrance and his music is as addicting as ever. He had a very good in the sense that it's European wrestling here. But Peter Tehanye is back. He put in a good effort against Maggot. Maggot, this was great. So Peter Tehanye, of all accounts, had the sucker won, but he just got too jumpy, and he goes for a springboard, and Maggot cutters him right out of the air, Diamond Dallas Page style, and pins him. I thought that finish was phenomenal, and that led into our main event. And prior to this, Axel Tischer cut a big promo saying, look, Archer, you like to take shortcuts. Let's not do that. Let's make this clean as a whistle. No shenanigans, no ref bumps, none of this bullshit. But if you break that code, essentially, then I'm trying to remember. Either Tischer said, you will regret this and I will hunt you down for the rest of your remaining days, or it could be both. He's in with the board of directors, and he will make sure that it's not the last time you see of Axel Tischer, and essentially it's a rematch. And sure enough, it went 23 minutes. There was a lot of... It was a very straightforward match until Archer got in trouble. Big low blow, Rotenflut come out, save him with the ropes, and one thing led to another, and Tristan Archer wins, which then sets up the We Love Wrestling show that took place in Hamburg. I believe this is their return to the Markthalle in Hamburg. 570 looked sold out from all accounts. Just a packed house. Let me see if that's actually where they usually... Because they usually run Dead End in Hamburg. Okay, no attendance listed there. But, God, Bobby Guns, Avalanche, Dead End main event in 2020. Okay. So yeah, we have a rematch, and this whole show was essentially built around the 60-minute Iron Man match between Archer and Tischer. Best man wins, most falls, period. Throughout the rest of the show, we had another Blanc-Volto match, 15 minutes. Blanc won that one this time. Heisenberg and Psycho Mike had a little brawl, cute little thing. Bobby Guns and Michael Knight continue their tag team. And Dreisker defeats the rotation, more heel stuff there. So simple show. It was a one-match show. And normally, I'm very hesitant of what a 60-minute match is going to be, especially when you know the time limit. How are they going to make this engaging throughout the entire time? And I got to say, the first 30 minutes of this match were phenomenal. I thought it was good storytelling on the heel, where as soon as he was in trouble, he decided to get the belt, knock Tischer out, goes down 0-1, but then he quickly gets like 3 straight falls to make up for that. And it was of course, then the second half was the comeback for Axel Tischer. Actually, no. It was, that all happened in like the first 15, 20 minutes, and then the next like 10 to 15 was a Tischer comeback, and they tied 3-3, and they used the last like 25 minutes to have essentially a more rundown, exhausted version of their True Colors match, and it led to a lot of good drama, a lot of good near falls. I think this is the WXW match of the year. Archer wins this essentially clean over Axel Tischer. Just obliterates this dude with 2 straight coup d'etats. No questions asked. There was very minimal crowd brawling in here. There was a small, I would say, few minute span in the match that didn't grab me when they were going through. So they were looking for like a table, and the crowd wanted a table, but they couldn't find it, and that part didn't work. Regardless, that's a very small instance in this very long match. I do highly recommend this, and I can't wait because we're building up to, I believe it's Broken Rules, which I think will air. I think it's going to go up on their network in the next day or so, and the card is back in Oberhausen. Jonathan Gresham and Dreisker are having a rematch for 16 Carat. Something's going to happen big. You kind of feel it that Gresham, by all accounts, Ring of Honor champion. And what they're going to do, it feels like Angle City. It feels like something to get over Dreisker bigger and build him up for the title match, because I don't think we're in a case where Gresham is going to be back in WXW with his prior bookings, I guess. Rot and Flot are defending the tag titles against Only Friends. It is a tables match, which I'm not sure why, but maybe there's something I missed. There was a last man standing match between Simmons and Heisenberg, which was built up on house shows. I don't know if that's going to be any good. Heisenberg is very rough in the ring. Allison and Maggot are having a mixed tag against Kolaski and Sebastian Suave. Okay, could be good. Tischer has a singles match against Cara Noir. I want this thing to go like 15, 20 minutes. I want that to be good. Psycho Mike Levaniel, and then there's a scramble match and pre-show tag with Arrows of Hungary. Hector Invictus rotation, Blanc. Masha Slamovich is in Germany? What? Peter Tahanye Orshi? That match sounds like it's going to rule. Hungarians and women? All right, let's go. All right, Broken Rules. Looking forward to that. WXW continuing to not disappoint in 2022. Very happy. I like it when this promotion does well. And they're essentially selling out their venues they're going. So it's very healthy. They got a good main event going. I am on the Tristan Archer train. And that will do it for VXV. Time for AJW. right, everybody, welcome to All Japan Women Destiny. It's episode 70. We are doing Dream Slam 1, Part 1. It's a massive show, and if you're joining for the first time, the way this is going to work is we follow the classics, AJW classics. Samurai TV put these out. Puro Dream had a big Google Drive. It goes around. And for 70, 71, and 72 is a scatter. It's Dream Slam 1 from Yokohama, which had like a sold out crowd of like 16,000. It's insane. It is the show of legend that kind of dare I say started the boom. Sure, we can kind of go with that. It's a massive interpromotional show. And the classics split the show into 3 classics. Now, I did notice that the classics totally skip over Dream Slam 2 from Osaka, which took place like the next week or a few days later. So I'm actually taking classics 70 and 71 and putting them in this, and then the biggest shows or the biggest matches from the show, quote unquote, like the Akira Hokuto Kandori match will be the next one, and the one after that will be Dream Slam 2 from Osaka. So that's what we're doing there. A little complicated, the way it sounds, but it's not as complicated as it sounds. I will have a list of the matches, of course, in the description that you can read and kind of follow along. But yeah, this is a show of legend, very very put on between all of the Joshi promotions of the time, essentially. You had, obviously, All Japan Women. You had JWP. You had LLPW, which, of course, you can listen to my LLPW reviews over on the Patreon, patreon.com/RedleafRetrocast, $5 tier. FMW women were involved, and then the EMLL, you'll probably know it more as CMLL today, were all involved in the show in various interpromotional matches against each other. And there was a big ceremony to start us off, seeing all of the wrestlers in their very, very early 90s, like jumpsuits attire type situations. And one thing that was very obvious was when they all got in the ring and kind of lined up, the AJW roster is like 3 times as big as the other companies when you see them all single filed like that. Gives you a little bit of perspective over how much bigger All Japan Women was compared to the other companies. And if JWP, it really makes you think if JWP didn't have the split with LLPW, what could have been? Because that like 88 to 91 type span with JWP really had a stacked roster, and it was only getting better. And then to have it kind of split in half, God, it makes you wonder. Makes you wonder a lot. So one of the big stories I read from this show was the tape trading that came out of this, where the VHS tapes sold out instantly, and not only that, they were selling these suckers for like hundreds of dollars. The smallest one I saw go around in various articles was $120. I saw someone was tape trading them in the United States for like $560. It was multiple tapes big. The first like hour and a half is just a big ceremony and brouhaha, not including like the mid-show ceremony where it has a lot of the legends of the past of AJW with like Maki Fumiaki, Jaguar Yokota, Bison Kimura is there, even though they made a little jab at her retirement. And various other people. Norio Tateno's there, even though at this point in time she is part of the LLPW roster, but not on this show. They made her a retired wrestler. I thought that was kind of fascinating little tidbit there. But yeah, the tapes were just ungodly expensive. And I'm going to save a couple other thoughts for the Kandori Hokuto match, because that match in particular really set a standard and really helped push a company start like selling out Korakuen halls. And yes, that is LLPW, as we can see, because with various interpromotional aspects with LLPW, they were able to take advantage of it at the time with people wanting to see these wrestlers mingle for the first time. And when this match went the way it did, and the show went over time, well, I guess I'm getting into it now. The show ended up going like so long that the last train left, and people were essentially stranded. And gotta say, I've been there, man. I've been there, like in downtown Dortmund, and I gotta get to fucking Verna. It's just too far away to walk, so you're just waiting till like 4:30 in the morning till the first train comes. But that's what people ended up going through, and they're just kind of hanging out, talking wrestling. And let's get into this, because this was a very fascinating show with... so every match had pre-match interviews from, I'm assuming, like a Fuji TV, AJW type interviewer. And he always, like... Boy, he was antagonizing Mean Gene, typing it up here with some of these wrestlers throughout the show. But it was usually very basic answers with majority of these wrestlers. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to try my hardest. I'm going to show that my company is the best. Blah blah blah. And then post match, they would get into why they lost, why they won, namely. The Aja Kong Bull Nakano one was really funny, where they're just stiff as a board. Aja Kong cannot talk in front of a camera. She is like a plank of wood cased in cement. She just goes, "I will win." And then the interviewer's like, "You will try out new moves, and or you will hit them with all their strength." And she just goes, "Yes, hi." Just move on, get away from me. She can throw a mean back fist, but when the camera's on her, we're done. She can't move. She's frozen. That's how you beat Aja Kong, guys. You just gotta stick an interview guy next to her and ask her questions, and she will just freeze up. Early 20s Aja Kong just can't handle the camera. So yeah, that was funny. Aja Kong and Bull Nakano post match was like, yeah, we proved we're the best. AJW #1. They're a bunch of scrubs. We had Eagle Sawai just not exactly burying Harley Saito in their match, but she essentially goes, I'm big. I was able to keep up with two big bulls, but Harley Saito's small. She tried to get him with her speed, but she got destroyed. Just kind of buried her. What was the other one? The other post-match interview that made me crack up was it was the FMW match when it came down to Shark Tsuchiya and Yoshika Midamari beating the Terry Powers team and Numata. And that story was Terry Powers has a messed up shoulder. She's one-armed, and Numata is like a green as grass rookie who's like no good. So even though they won that match, the interviewer in the post-match goes, yeah, you guys won, but does it really feel like a victory? I mean, Terry was hurt, and you beat a rookie. The FMW women just kind of go, well, it still counts. Come on, it was a win. He's like, I don't know. You kind of didn't. You beat cripples. It's essentially what he's saying. You're just really putting down their win as worthless. So I cracked up at some of these quips that this interviewer guy threw in there every now and again. But let's get on to some of these matches. Hikari Fukuoka and Plum Mariko defeated... No. Yes, they defeated Kaori Ito and Saki Hasegawa. 16 and a half minutes this opener went. And originally... it was supposed to be Debbie Malenko in this match instead of Kaori Ito, but as we know, Debbie Malenko had her ankle explode and her career ended. So they kind of just say that Debbie is, I guess she's not out of the company yet, but they said she's battling injuries and she's not 100%, so Ito had to step in. So she was out to prove. But really, this match was a lot of running, and Ito is just still running stomps and butt attacks. And thank God Saki Hasegawa just never tagged her in. Saki Hasegawa was such an MVP in this match because she stayed in there the whole time. She was a big underdog babyface fighting against Hikari and Plum Mariko all on her own, and Plum and Hikari are doing just really awesome things throughout the entire time. Hikari Fukuoka looks like a spit image of Manami Toyota in kind of like gear choice and long hair, while Plum she's definitely got a lot of appeal to her, and I know we've talked a lot about Plum Mariko and what she means on the industry and various other outlets of this podcast, but she was still not, I hate to say it, but she wasn't concussed to the undercard yet, as harsh as that may sound. That's what happened to her, but she's got blue and red tie-dye type gear here. It's almost like an episode of Nickelodeon Guts with some of these gears on the show. But there's a lot of Thez presses. There's a lot of jumping off the top rope. Just very balls to the wall. There is a moment where I want to say it was Fukuoka Hikari who does a like butterfly suplex and then just does this crazy uranagi like right on the neck of Saki Asagawa. And Saki Asagawa has got some size on these, and they do reference that in the pre-match interview where how are these JWP women going to compete with the size of Saki Asagawa? And that's another aspect. With the exception of Eagle Sawai and I guess Megumi Kudo, whom was in the main event, a lot of these women are shorter due to AJW having the like height restriction, which they've now dropped because they're now with the Crush Gal's gone, their influx of trainees or pipeline is greatly diminished. But it's essentially all those women from the mid to late 80s that couldn't make it to AJW because of various restrictions or getting cut because there was just so many people. They're in JWP. They're in FMW. They split off in their LLPW. So that's kind of the thing. But Ito lands her flying stops just right on Fukuoka's ribs. Just looks like she crushes her in half. And then Plum hits a super Frankensteiner to finish this match on Saki Asagawa to win. I love this match. It's an easy 3 out of 3 recommendation. It's amazing. It's really good. It's really high paced. I believe Big Dave gave this 4 1/4 to start off. Incredible. So Shark Tsuchiya and Yoshiko Miyamari defeat Seimi Numata and Terry Powers. My God. For a terrible Terry Powers match, the fact that she was one-armed, she worked like she was Hawk of the Road Warriors here. She would just fire up, throw a lariat, run the ropes, throw another lariat. They'd miss, they'd knock her out, they'd work like a little bit of the arm, and then freaking what's her face? Numata would like get in and get her ass kicked by the FMW women, and the FMW women are so bad. They don't run. They have just a terrible look to them. They got the goofy paint on. They look like if Demolition from the late 80s, early 90s WWF were essentially jobbers, but they were given this like one match as like a attaboy. All they do is like choke on the ground and put in headlocks. So it's essentially, if they can't throw someone in barbed wire, then they're just terrible. So yeah, that's what happened there. Essentially a jobber match, if I must say. Oh, this match was great. So it's the CMLL offer match against Mima Shimoda and Tomoko Watanabe. And Tomoko Watanabe, for this match, even though she's got her little karate gimmick, for this one, she's going to wear a lucha mask. And it looks horrible. It's got little dingly dangly things on the neck area. It's going. And it goes 14.5 minutes. It's Esther Moreno, who's under this character, Ultima Tigrita. It's like Ultimate Tiger. Yeah, it's Esther Moreno. Very good. Just high flying, tope suicidas, quebradas, like you name it. Like that's what she was doing. And then Kaoru, whom is Kaoru Maeda, she left AJW or she was cut. I can't quite remember. And she went and got a tiny little career in Mexico, and she gained a little bit of weight. She's definitely gotten a little taller. She's much stronger, and she was doing a bunch of flipping sentons and whatnot, and she was able to keep up with Moreno, and they made this a lucha match, and this was really cool. I really rather enjoyed this. Even the interviewer pre-match kind of made note of Kaoru. I was like, hey, you've gained a little weight there. And she's like, yeah, I hope it doesn't slow me down. And then after the match, when they won, he repeats the question. He goes, hey, that weight didn't seem to slow you down. And Kaoru kind of laughs it off, going, yeah, I was a little worried about that. But they even referenced, they're referencing all these new moves people are trying for the first time. Like Hikari hitting the Super Frankensteiner off the top, and she's like, I've never tried that before. And Kaoru's like, yeah, I've never tried this this flipping senton before, but I pulled it off. So everyone's just working their ass off for this show. It is amazing how motivated wrestlers get when you put them in the right environment with just a hot crowd. Kaoru really just continues to impress me the more I watch her and learn about her, whether it's on the Joshi 2010s, which you can sign up for and listen to. Right now, she's currently injured. Blew out her ankle in 2011 here, but I'm really going to try to follow more of her career the more I kind of dive deeper into the scene and get further along in years. And I'm really feeling an Arcean project at some point in time. That's a promotion that just utterly fascinates me, and it was very short-lived. But how did this match end? It ended with, well, first of all, Shimoda looks like $1 million, a future star. Let's see, there was a La Magistral over the ropes. I think that was the finish. I think Watanabe missed a splash, and Kaoru just kind of throws her out. And yeah, I think it was just a La Magistral Cradle that won it. So very good. I'd go 3 out of 3 on this one too. It was just very different. It was pretty rad. Let's see. What else is on my agenda? Bat Yoshinaga defeats Susan Howard in a shitty shootboxing, kickboxing match that went on too long. Hard skip. Kyoko Inoue and Takako Inoue, double Inoue here, taking on and defeating Cutie Suzuki and Mayumi Ozaki. This was my favorite match on the entire show, and it does have the Big Dave 5-star approval, and I totally see why. This match was utterly incredible. I adored this so much. It is essentially everything that I like about, the tag team, like old school Joshi wrestling, the costumes, gear of Cutie Suzuki and Mayumi Ozaki were on the borderline absurd. They essentially looked like dresses with them converted into tights for the pants. It really makes you wonder what was going on there when they decided that. But I mean, they were definitely kind of into the idol more look, very beautiful, and their counterparts being Kyoko and Takako. Takako was also like that exact same kind of long-haired model type person, while Kyoko got the biggest chance in the crowd. Just she is one not like the others for sure. The match is just, it's even faster and more crisp than the opener, mostly because now you have a fourth person in here doing things. And kind of funny that Cutie Suzuki and, I guess anyone teaming Mayumi Ozaki are going to just default to heel. But seeing Cutie Suzuki, a rival of Mayumi Ozaki, just agreeing that, hey, we're Team JWP, let's fuck up these AJW broads. And they went out and did just that. They're hitting big drop kicks. Kyoko isn't staying on the ground like at all in this match. She's doing big springboards. She's showing off her levels of athleticism that we know she's capable of. Kyoko does like a 2-minute giant swing on Cutie. I think it goes like 40 revolutions, 50. Crazy stuff. And yet, despite the heel tactics, Cutie Suzuki and Mayumi Ozaki got super over in this match because of all of the just high-level moves and just trading back and forth and near falls and breaking up pins. Just the crowd was super hot for this. To Kakao, I believe there was a Niagara driver from Kyoko that gets a huge-ass near fall. And then Takako super choke slams Ozaki off the top with a Niagara driver. I think I got that correctly. So just the ultimate double finisher for Ozaki to eat this pin. Phenomenal match. It's one of my... God. It's got to be a top 5 Joshi match for me. I love this thing. This was so good. I like this more than the initial... what was that? Was that... I think that was Dreams... No, it wasn't... It was the first interpromotional one with Mayumi Ozaki and Kansai. I definitely like this match more than that tag from AJW. That was the show where Aja Kong won the title from Bull Nakano. God, I can't remember the name right now. We'll call it Dream Slam 0. Dream Slam OG. But yeah, this was incredible. Highly recommend. Go out of your way to watch it. And then we got to another rad as fuck match. It's Aja Kong and Bull Nakano taking on and defeating Eagle Sawai and Harley Saito. Bull Nakano does go into LLPW and have some stints. Same thing with Aja Kong. They kind of redo this match of sorts in LLPW to show their audience what it is. And, you can kind of see, but those matches did not compare to this one. This one's kind of also a 3 out of 3 recommendation on the lower end of that. We're not talking double in away against Cutie Ozaki over here, but it's just big hosses like running at each other. And then Harley Saito getting obliterated by Kong and Nakano over and over again. Harley Saito gets some kicks in. Bull Nakano tosses her kendo sticks, and Saito can kind of show off some moves. It was a lot of character work in this match, where Eagle Sawai, for example, takes down Aja Kong finally with a lariat or shoulder tackle or whatever it was, and then she just gives him the Italian forearm, motherfucker kind of deal. Aja Kong's striking poses in the ring. Bull Nakano's doing that. The crowd was super into this. This was just a ton of fun. Let's see. What do my notes say here? What else? Any tidbits? Monster heels. Go at it. Power versus power. Oh, there was 2 dives to the outside. Fucking Aja and Bull both do suicide dives to the outside to the floor. And it's just when the crowd sees Aja do this, they their minds explode. And I couldn't even comprehend it at first. I go, did Aja just do that? I had to rewind it and watch it. And Bull Nakano looks at the crowd and she goes, do I do it now? And they're like, yeah, I'll fucking do it too, Bull Nakano. And I thought she was going to do her kind of step over the top rope and just jump off the little... No, she does a full-on dive too. Pretty cool. But yeah, it was mostly Eagle would come in. There was a little bit of heat there in the middle that got a little slow, but that's okay. Eagle would come in, deal with Aja, and Bull Nakano would just wreck Harley Saito. No kicks to the head were ever going to help Harley Saito win on this day. She eats 2 hard spinning back fist. Bull hits the guillotine drop on Saito. Let's see. I think. Yeah, Nakano then had to do the somersault guillotine leg drop, and that's what finally put Saito away. So they gave her a lot to kick out of, but yeah, we're gonna learn more and more that AJW don't lose, bro. It's just the way it is. And then these next 2 matches, I really wanted them to be better. There were flashes of things being good, but Dynamite Kansai taking on Yumiko Hota, it's really funny how Yumiko Hotta is frequently in like random singles matches high up the card, and then she just loses every time. She is the fall person, and I'm pretty sure up until people start leaving the promotion, there's more retirements, or they gotta like make someone new to keep the main event fresh. Hotta is the fall person in a lot of these interpromotional matches, and it's not outstanding why, but there's like an 8-year history with Kansai getting cut from AJW. They're apart. They wanted to fight each other, and Hotta does some kicks. Kansai looks like she still has never lifted a weight in her life. It really makes me wonder if Kansai like put on muscle mass instead of just being tall and big comparatively. What else she could have been. But I just couldn't get into the match very much. It's very slow at times. It's just kicking the match. Hota's like, she doesn't have a structure to her. While Kansai was able to eventually get the Kansai bomb on, and it was a huge Splash Mountain Kansai bomb. Well, I guess that works too. But it just goes on forever. Wasn't into it. And that'll bring us to the main event. And I guess the only highlight of this main event is me questioning how FMW got into this All-Star Dream main event when I don't even think the tag titles were on the line in this. I think it was just a straight tag of Megumi Kodo and Combat Toyota against Toyota and Yamada. Toyota did her fucking damnedest to bend herself in half all throughout this match to try to get these FMW dorks over. Combat Toyota is very bad. Megumi Kodo, I gave her the benefit of the doubt, but she's also not that great. Like Megumi Kodo does this weird like surfboard bend to her, to Toyota, and she just like holds it there for minutes. I didn't know what was going on. If Combat Toyota isn't throwing a lariat and Manami Toyota's flipping on her neck and bending herself backwards over forwards, then it wasn't much of anything. It's just they always tried to break down into the AJW style of go, 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 but the FMW women just simply weren't doing that. And there was quite a few instances throughout the show, with the exception of, I would say, the Cutie Suzuki Ozaki match, where you really got the feeling there was a lot of purposeful miscommunication and sandbagging. Don't look weak, women. You're representing your company. Kind of attaboys, put yourself over, brother moments. You got a lot of that. But this match, it was all about AJW trying to fight back against the heel team of FMW, and I kind of there's some good little like Northern Lights suplex from Kudo. Yamada does some good kicks in the match, but ultimately the match even ends very flat. How long did this go? I think it went like 24 minutes or something. 28 minutes! It was forever. Toyota absolutely obliterates Kudo with an Ocean, the JOC, just lands her straight on her fucking neck and head. If you would have told me that Kudo was paralyzed after taking that, I'd believe you. But look, Toyota and Yamada are one of the best tag teams of all time. I'm saying that right now. I have really come to this conclusion. It's not a shock. Bull and Aja are a different animal, but man, I want to see more of Ozaki and Cutie Suzuki teaming up after all this. I'm definitely not going 3 out of 3 recommendation here. I'm going more along the lines of like a 1-2 if I'm feeling good for the main event. The Bull Nakano Aja Kong Eagle Sawai match, I'm going full 3 on there. Kyoko double in away. That's full 3. Like, just from what we talked about here on what this show was, it's a super show, and it feels every bit of every sense of that word. It describes it. It is a super show, and all of these matches deliver. You're trying to highlight all of your wrestlers. It's pretty amazing that they were able to pull this off. And the next episode's even better with the Kandori Hokuto match. I hope to have extensive notes over that one. And then the one that's going to mean a lot to me is the Devil Masami Chigusa Nagayo match, which I believe it's Nagayo's first match since she retired in '89. Whew. What an episode of AJW. that was. And with that said, it is time for Nitro. Here we go. Where's the drop? WCW Nitro, August 23rd, 1999. Guys, there was like a 4-week span there in July and maybe a week or two in August that were pretty good, and then Road Wild happened, and things are going downhill again. Eric Bischoff seems to be back in charge. He's booking shit. Nash is still like on the head of the committee or whatever, and here we are in Las Vegas, Nevada. 8,900 people at the MJM Grand. I think that's only half capacity. And yes, it's the Kiss show. I actually had to find an alternative video of this because when I was not taking my notes for this, because WCW does not deserve me to pay all that attention to it. This is more of a wrestling was bad, guys. And you're going to hear me talk about how bad some of these things were in WCW. So, yes, when I saw the video, it was only like 2 hours. I'm like, but it's a 3-hour Nitro. Well, that's because all of the Kiss concert and the debut of the Kiss Demon were cut. So I had to find it. And yeah, Kiss had a concert. They sounded really bad. And fucking Dale Torborg came out as the Kiss Demon, a wrestler that they're gonna push. So yeah, it was Hootie Hoo guy. What's his face? We had the summer of him. That didn't work out. They fired wrestlers. They got paid like $750,000 to do nothing. This company went out of business in like a couple years. And the theme of the show, besides a couple great things, I will say I was heavily entertained on this show because it is the Millennium Man, Sid Vicious. He is back for more destruction. The winning streak continues. He is like 64-0 or some shit. And last week, I forgot to mention this because I was just so tired and just totally forgot. But remember how it was Sid versus Hulk Hogan and he was like powerbombing dudes on popcorn? And then he was in the main event. Well, Rick Steiner came out and Hulk Hogan pinned him in the match. It was just like when Goldberg was on his streak and he randomly pinned Kurt Hennig in a match that he wasn't in. And that's how he like won that main event. But yeah, if Sid Vicious was like delusional and he had some guy, like he had a dude with cue cards, like a referee, as he pinned Dorks, counting up his victories of matches that like don't exist. Like if that was it, would have been like great. It would have been the greatest thing ever. The problem is we have commentary, Heenan and Shivani going, "Oh my God, the winning streak continues," and Mean Gene acknowledging. You have all these people telling me that this winning streak is for real, when we all know it's bullshit. So WCW, you laugh at them. In the fact that we know this company goes out of business, this shit was so funny. Sid came out in like, I think it was like 4 out of the first 5 matches. He's powerbombing dudes. He's putting his foot on their chest. He has like 9 wins, but they only like make 7 of them known on screen because so even their fake count, they'll have to lie about that. It's absurd. So yeah, and he's cutting his wacky, "You will hear the name Sid the loudest in the year 2000. Hulk Hogan, you will not duck me any longer." Supposedly, backstage, this was the show that Eric Bischoff got pissed off about ratings, and he goes, "If anyone wants to quit, I will release you immediately." And Raven was the guy who took that. So, Raven and the Insane Clown Posse group, last we'll see of Raven, unfortunately. No more Raven. Raven, you will be missed, mostly because of the flock and your flock of junkies, and your amazing videos with Canyon. I adored those quite a lot. I'm going to miss you, Raven. Let's see. Chase Tatum, Mackie Whipwreck, Sid, Cat versus Buff Bagwell. They're just continuing to do that again. Oh yeah, also backstage, Cat and Buff Bagwell are bitching about finishes. Conan refuses to do a job, and there was someone else that also did that. But hey, Sid beat them all up. Lex Luger came back randomly. He's back. He interfered in the Cat Buff Bagwell match for God knows what reason. Berlin is coming. Goldberg versus Diamond Dallas Page happened because Diamond Dallas Page called him a big, bald-headed bitch? Did you say bitch? We're going to go with bitch. But yeah, Goldberg spears Canyon in half, and then Bam Bam eats a spear too, and Page ran. Crowd loved it. Can we get Goldberg back in the main event, please? Anyways. The newest West Texas Rednecks video, and their song, Good Old Boys. Oh my God. So first of all, it's Jeff Jarrett's WCW music from 96 with lyrics over it. And we're going to forget about the lyrics here because they're kind of bad. Who cares? The video is Kurt Hennig, the Windhams, and Duncombe Jr. doing country shenanigans all over this video. It's better than any Nitro Party video I've ever seen. And they're like pissing in rivers. They're crashing ATVs. They're committing like felonies. They're getting speeding tickets, and their car breaks down in the desert. Then they call a limo to pick them up. It's phenomenal. They're in a river in an inner tube drinking beer. It is the greatest. How are these guys not big baby faces getting put over? But it's WCW, so of course they're heels. My God, the crowd cheers them too. They do have a concert later that they just look like they're having a great time again. I love the fucking West Texas Rednecks concert where you got Barry Windham on the drums just smiling and just totally out of beat. Hennig's just got the words down. They're like, man, we got us four just having the time of our lives. We don't have to take bumps. This company shit. Who cares? We're having a good time. I respect that. Lenny Lane is the Cruiserweight champion for God knows what reason. He's against Juventud Guerrero, but Sid comes out for the DQ, so whatever. 71-0, by the way. Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn, Shane Douglas, the Revolution Brother, against Hugh Morris, Barbarian, and Brian Knobbs. Let's see. Rick Steiner comes in front of the referee. Bulldog Saturn, Knobbs pins him. I think every single match on the show went to DQ or an interference finish that wasn't called for a DQ. Either way, not one clean finish on this entire show. Just all DQs and interference. Berlin is still coming. They keep playing this video over and over again throughout the night. Poor Alex Wright. Billy Kidman is a filthy animal. He's not hitting on Kimberly, even though he's calling her hot as hell. DDP is a madman and wants to beat him up because of this. Okay. But Billy Kidman actually has his eyes on another Nitro Girl. And the Nitro Girl contest thing is coming back. Or the search is happening. Stacy Keibler's coming, is what that means. There was a thing last week where we learned about the Nitro Girls pay-per-view. Couldn't get numbers on it, but Billy Kidman said he watched it more than Mean Gene, which is more than 16. Tried to find it. Could not find it. Very sad. And then this week, they plugged WCW body pillows. I know. It's like the anime body pillows, but instead of cute anime girls, you got Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan. And these things go for like $500 on eBay. Okay. The Insane Clown Posse continue to be the best thing on Nitro. They're the best workers. I learned that Shaggy 2 Dope and who's the other guy? It's Shaggy, Vampiro, and Violent J. before they got into making terrible music, they actually were trained wrestlers. So this all makes sense why they're actually kind of good. But yeah, they cheat. They beat Mysterio and Kidman. Eddie comes out for the save before the beatdown. Blah, blah, blah. Hogan, big push towards his match with Sting. And Luger says, don't trust him. He's going to turn on you. So yeah, Sid Vicious pins Sting with a basic chokeslam at Road Wild. He shouldn't have lost in the main event last week, and now Sting is in the main event this week, going for the title. Hey, thumbs up booking, am I right, guys? U.S. title, Rick Steiner against Chris Benoit. Hey, they beat the hell out of each other. Sid lays out Saturn. Whatever. Benoit challenges Sid and Steiner to a match on Thunder. Yeah, sure, why not? Tag titles, Harlem Heat against the Windhams. I don't remember what happens here, so we're moving on. I think Stevie Ray pinned somebody. Who cares? Probably Kendall. Vampiro versus Eddie Guerrero. This was good. Oh my god. Insane Clown Posse interferes. Vampiro sends Eddie headfirst into Shaggy for the pin. Hey, I like this match. And then we got the main event, Hogan versus Sting. And it's every 1980s Hulk Hogan match you've ever seen. I hate this shit. Hooray. Let's see. This is what a Nitro review says. It says, they go back inside the ring. Sting gets 2 off a Vader bomb. Somehow Hogan sells it more than he ever did when Vader himself did it back in 1995. We hit the chin lock a bit for Hulk Hogan as he hulks up, only to miss the big leg. The Stinger splash connects, but a second boot. The third hits the buckle. The third splash attempt hits the buckle. Hogan is ready to go, only to have Psycho Sid and Rick Steiner come in for the DQ. Hey. Nitro. Goldberg and Luger came out for the save. Got 2 thumbs up there. Guys, another long-ass episode. It's getting late for me. I'll see you next time.